All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, because I think you're going to enjoy this one tonight on Sportswire. Now, usually I name it and title it with a wrestler or two that comes on, but I have a feeling tonight you'll enjoy why I've called it an evening with Sportswire Radio, because two of our guests here who have certainly become frequent visitors, frequent participants, two of, I would say, arguably our favorites here on Sportswire Radio. One who needs no introduction, but he'll get one anyway when I do my usual intro in a second, because they call him the real deal, Anthony Steele. Backyard wrestler, indie darling, you name it. He's probably somewhere getting ready for a big match. And the man that some call the real Craven, others, as I like to call him, as the coach of Sportswire Radio, Mr. Chris Craven. And these two individuals have said a lot over the past 24 hours, which I want to get to. And I know many, many other wrestlers on Sportswire Radio are probably going to be curious as they're getting ready to tune in. These gentlemen need no further introductions, but because it's Saturday night, I just saw Mission Impossible Day of Reckoning. These guys are going to get that introduction that we've all been waiting for. So with that, wait for it. Further ado, we're on the Sports Report. Number one, the Level Sports Show, the legendary coach of Sportswire Radio, Chris Craven, and some may say the indie darling, the real deal, Anthony Steele. Gentlemen, I know James Taylor didn't give you that intro last night.
It's a James Taylor podcast. What do you expect?
I'll gonna plead the fifth on that because I'm sure Mr. Taylor and others will be here. But I've already got.
He's commenting.
I was gonna say, listen, I will definitely read the comments. So if I have a feeling, a lot of people are gonna want to say something. But gentlemen, there is a lot I could go with to start, but for whatever reason, Anthony Steele, I am going with you first. I am going for the jugular because Anthony Steele, as always, you live up to your name, as some may say, the real deal. But you caught my interest because for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, I don't know necessarily why you were poking the bear, but you had a few things to say about the WCE All-Out Champion, the Backyard Nightmare, the ruler of the yard, Mr. Craven Rage. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, why did you actually address Mr. Rage, and what made you such a rage against the WCE machine?
Okay, so there's one thing me and Chris Craven, as you say, the real.
Speak up.
There's one thing me and him have in common. Me and Chris have one thing in common.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna run a show, run it. You have talent that is there to help you with your show. If you want to bury someone, homeboy, be a competitor and let someone else run the show. Because at this point, Craven Rage, you bury everybody you can. But see, as I said last night, here's the factor of it. While you're out there burying them against yourself, they're producing better matches without you day in and day out. Because all those people that can't wrestle, and for a dude that been wrestling for, 10, 20?
27 years he's been in the business. I'm very surprised, Anthony Steele, what you're saying here tonight.
Hey, look, for 27 years, you still, as I said, fuck up your own move. You fuck up your own fucking finisher. How is that? You're not Craven Rage. You're Xavier Thorne.
He's no Chris Craven.
Like you're not Craven Rage. You're Ronnie Brady. You're guys that want to make it big, but really have no effort or proof to show it. Because let me go on to a factor of this. I asked you to prove to me for all of these companies that you've supposedly performed for. Where's the proof out there?
Well, he's got the title in WCE. He's got this championship from his 500 days.
Hey, look, he's talking about indie shit. He said on the indies, he has matches with multiple indie companies. Where are they at? Well, then when I asked you if there was multiple, you named two and you didn't have any proof. See, hey, everyone, y'all want proof that I'm proving? Like I'm working in an indie company. Check out NOCW Wrestling on Facebook. You'll see one of the videos from the Millington, Tennessee fight back in May. You'll see me in that little trailer for that show. And then when they released the one for June, you'll see me in that one too.
Okay, well, I'm gonna definitely get to where you're gonna be coming recently, and I'm gonna get to the other Craven in a second. But are you sure you stand by these words here, Mr. Steele? Because I got WCE talent is here. They're listening to this right now.
Hey, I'm gonna say this for all the WCE talent that is watching. Keep putting on the good work. Out fucking perform Craven Rage.
I like the Orange Citrus title.
And literally make sure that y'all's name goes down in history as the greatest performers to ever set foot in WCE. And I would love to see all of the young talent there, the guys that have the potential to go indie. I want to meet up with some of y'all on the indie scene. That's where it comes from. Craven Rage, your time is up. That's why you went back to the yard.
So are you trying to say here that Craven Rage is past his prime, and is that what you're trying to say?
Craven Rage was past his prime the third year he tried to do this.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to the other Craven in a second, but let me get to some people here. First of all, I want to say somebody I want to say hello to that's going to be returning to the ring also next weekend, but in England, also a fellow wrestler. That is Daniel Banner, who's going to be making his debut in GT Ministries there in the Numbers Rumble. That'll be next weekend, July 22nd. So if you want to follow and watch that show, GT Ministries UK and all their social media pages, morning from the UK. Appreciate Daniel. It's 3:14 a.m. there, and he's up wide awake, and he certainly is always one of our favorites on Sportswire Radio. So congratulations on getting out there and being a part of the Rumble next weekend. The man that actually, I don't know if you saw this, Anthony, still, I know Chris Craven did, but Skulls, who, by the way, is now a WCE talent, made his return to the ring after 14 years, was actually attacked by Craven Rage. He was actually attacked by him, the first ever attack on Sportswire Radio. And he says to you, Mr. Steele, Anthony, you might get the same results as Skulls get attacked on Sportswire Radio.
I welcome it. Craven, if you have the balls to come up here and say something to my face, go ahead. Go ahead. The one thing that I have to say about this, my name, the real deal, is because I didn't get that just as a moniker because it sounds good. No, it's because I keep it 100. Like, if Craven Rage has a problem with what I'm saying, produce some facts on how I'm lying.
I actually have a good question. This is an objective question, and I'll give it for both you guys. I want to go with Chris Craven first. Chris, this is a good question, so you don't have to pile on Daniel Banner. He's one of my favorites here. He actually has a good question, and I think you'd be great for it first off the bat. Just wondering if you have any advice for a debuting wrestler, which is Daniel Banner next weekend in the GT Ministries Rumble. So any advice you have for him, Mr. Craven?
Yeah, best thing I can say as a debuting wrestler, get there early, get there early, shake everyone in the locker room's hand, introduce yourself, get that respect right off the bat, and learn what you can. Learn what you can, listen in the ring, let some, if they have it a way where they're going to general the ring or the match for you, pay attention, try not to mess up, stay focused. After you're done, just ask for pointers. Try to pick anybody's brain. Become a sponge. Learn what you can and show the respect.
Anything you want to add, Anthony Steele, on that? Obviously, you've been in the Indies now for a little while. Any advice you want to give, Daniel?
Number one, like you said, shake everyone's hand, get to know everybody, know who the locker room leader is, the one that, everyone follows. Stay on his good side, him or her. Stay on their good side. And as you said, ask for pointers. After one of my favorite things to do, I've been on the indie scene for 4 months. One of my favorite things to do is I'll go out there, do a match, and then I'll come back and I'll be like, any advice? What do you think I could work on? What do you think I should keep? Anything I should critique and mess with a little bit? always ask questions. The one thing I live by in wrestling is it's never too hard to ask for help, because there's people that's been doing this 10, 20, 30, 40 years longer than I have. And when I get to that age, there's going to be people just like me and you that are new to the scene that's going to come up to us and be like, hey, you got any advice for a guy like me or a girl like me? What can I do when I go out there? Also, the one thing I tell a lot of people, don't show fear. Don't show fear, because that crowd will see it.
They'll eat you up alive. Yeah. When we had a guy, Vito Fratelli, on, and Vito Fratelli had wrestled at the time Alexander Hammerstone, who was the then MLW champion. It was kind of, I guess, just before they got the TV deal on Reels. And
My beeper passed.
Well, your beeper passed, yeah. So he had kind of said almost the same things. But let me ask you guys both this question. I know there's people that want to hear kind of the rah, 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 but I kind of want to do this because there's somebody out there that might learn from this, and especially Daniel, because Daniel has really been a big supporter of my shows for about, I'd say, almost 2 years. He's been with me. So for you guys, when you made the adjustment to being indie wrestlers, you can answer this in any way you want. Did you have a different approach? Did you go in with a predetermined attitude or preconceived attitude, and then maybe you changed because of when you came into the indies? I mean, any thoughts on that for both you guys?
When I went from the yard to indies, I was told right from the get-go, forget everything you know. Forget everything you think you think. Forget everything you think you know. Don't act like a know-it-all. Don't act like you have any experience. Go in there like you are greener than possum shit. And learn. Don't open your mouth. Let's learn.
Okay. Same here. Keep the ears open. Always keep your ears open. Especially, one thing that me and him have in common is coming from the yard to the indie scene. A lot of backyards be like, I know what I'm doing. I can do this. Y'all can't teach me nothing. Dude, those dudes can teach you everything.
Gunshot. Oh.
I know people are waiting for some of that. I will get to that at some point, but I really did kind of want to do it.
I'm sorry, that just slipped out.
We'll definitely get to it, because I know that there are guys tuned in that kind of want to hear what people have to say about each other, but I really wanted to do a service while I had the chance, because of somebody like Daniel, who's been training over there in the Fountains Church in Bradford, who's been spending a lot of time up there, and has finally had that moment, and I hope I can say this on the air about Daniel. He had some setbacks in another place he was training for, and there was certain things that went on, but he's kind of overcome those obstacles, and he's made it to the moment where he gets to be in that Rumble. And I thought having guys like yourself who have been there, been in that moment, obviously you've had a lot more success in terms of how many matches you had in the indies versus Steel, but the fact of the matter is at least to give him that type of advice here. But let me get to some more.
Daniel, all I say is, Daniel, enjoy it. Remember to have fun.
No, he will. I have a good.
No, I'm talking to him. If he's listening, just have fun with it. Enjoy it. Take it all in, because, like you mentioned, fear. Like, you're being afraid. Like, yeah, it can be intimidating, but apply what you've learned and just take it all in. Enjoy it. Like, ultimately, that's what we're doing. We're having fun. Don't overthink it. Just flow, man. Just flow.
I think that's some great points there, and I think anybody can learn from that advice, not just in wrestling, but anything in life. Let me get to some more comments, but I'll come back to Daniel. He says, thank you. I'm going to give it my best and give it my all, and I look forward to watching that live, because what's great about GT Ministries is they're one of the few companies in the UK that streams their shows live. So they put it on Facebook, they put it on YouTube, and they usually air the shows about 7 p.m. British Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be next Saturday. So thank you very much for that. Our friends over at Backyard Elite Wrestling, who I know we'll do something with the next couple of weeks, say good day. Want to also say hello again to somebody that you guys also had just mentioned, who I had mentioned in the intro. That's a guy by the name of James Taylor. Might have heard of him, right? He's getting the goosebumps. Also, he says here, why did I hear the Power Rangers beeper? Yeah, well, we kind of just addressed that, so that's kind of a here nor there.
It's my phone. Shut up.
It sounded like a beeper. I think. Does anybody still have a beeper out there? And if so, those things have to be worth something, right? Because if anybody has a beeper,
why does Taylor's picture look like somebody that's not even him? On his little thing right here, like that ain't Taylor. That don't look nothing like Taylor.
I don't know. You know what? I'm sure Mr. Taylor can answer that. I do want to say hello to Adonis Felios from WCE. from the Drip King himself. He is the AIW champion. Says evening, Tom, and evening to everyone else here. The IMF is here. Obviously, you guys also mentioned them because I'm gonna get to a couple of companies in a few minutes. They say hello, Tom, Chris, and Steele. CJ Black. Now, Anthony Steele, do you know anything about CJ Black? He's from a company called ROEW, and he's kind of made the rounds here on Sportswire. Anything you want to say?
Around, I haven't really heard much.
Yeah, so
he's
best friends with somebody you know. I hope I'm not going to get in too much trouble here, Nate.
Yep.
Yeah. Should I plead the fifth and say no more? I think so, right? Say no more, right?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Right now, I've been just working on my indie stuff.
That's why I wanted to say no more.
So, literally, I haven't really kept track on the backyard scene right now. It's
good.
Really not in my vision. But good luck to all of y'all. Do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm laughing at these comments. I'm sorry.
I'm sitting here watching them too.
Okay. Well, I like to read them up because people do like that stuff. Also, here Skulls makes a good point. What I want to learn is there's never enough homework when it comes to wrestling. Absolutely. Listen.
Period.
Absolutely. It reminds me of when I was learning to play the guitar. It was always like, well, you got to keep learning no matter what, who is the greatest guitarist or not. Everybody learns something from somebody. So I think it applies to anything in life. Also, Omen Black, by the way, you guys also mentioned him last night. Omen Black, of course, he is the now former IMF champion. Mr. Steele, you know him very well. You know him very, very well.
Hey, Omen, you lost.
Zordon is calling you Chris. Chris Craven here. Tap's profile pic looks like if he made himself in WWE 2K games. Yes, so actually to answer your question, James Taylor, the Nemesis, is a big WWE 2K game streamer. You can catch him, Taff Taylor, YouTube, Taff_Taylor on Instagram. He is a very, very big-time social media darling when it comes to streaming games and other shows. But I have somebody also named Craven who is here. So the fireworks may be starting a little bit early here. So that is Mr. Craven Rage, the reigning, defending WCE all-out champion of the world himself, says, hello, Mr. Tom Bryce. Hello, Coach Chris Craven. How are you gentlemen doing this evening? With all due respect, I truly respect you guys, but honestly, this nobody is not worth.
Hey, here's the best thing about it, Craven. This is directly to you. Now that you're here, you can hear it firsthand. This nobody you talk about is doing a lot more moves than you've ever done in your 27 career. So, I guess this nobody's becoming somebody, ain't he? And I didn't have to own a company to do it.
Okay, I mean, you stand by.
Damn, Andy Kaufman's on a roll.
So you stand by then what you're saying here.
Hey, let's just say this: August 5th, Craven. I know you got a car, West Memphis, Arkansas. Come see what I'm about to do. Come see what I'm about to do.
Maybe
what's the distance between West Arkansas and Wisconsin? What do you think that distance is?
Well, from where I'm at to West Memphis, Arkansas, it's about 45 minutes, and to where he is from me, it's about 8.5 hours. So I'll say about 8 hours.
And you're obviously busy in the Indies. You're focused on that, so you aren't going to be near Wisconsin anytime soon, then, right?
Oh no. See, but look here, Craven. I'll even say this: if you can come out and watch me, I'll pay for your ticket. I'll get you VIP tickets so you can sit in the front row and watch me perform and do what I do best, and then you can go back to Wisconsin and try to bury more people that are more relevant than you are. So, because I'm reading your comment, I don't own a company. I work in this company, right? Homeboy, we all know that's your company.
All right. Well, obviously,
your face is all over the company. Your name, your face, everything.
Maybe he don't have gas money to get there.
Hey, look, it doesn't take a monkey to do rocket science for us to figure the fuck out.
Sure it does.
Which probably the monkey's smarter than you are. But keep it real, dude. I understand you want to keep this moniker that you're so luxurious and legendary in this business, but 27 years, and all you have to say for it is you are a longest reigning world champion in a backyard company.
Well, he's got 500-day title run almost. Almost 500 days.
days. How many more things are you going to steal? You know,
I got
you know,
500
you do,
bank.
look, I'm going to say this, dude. I can work out for 500 days, but that doesn't mean I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, it's one of those
Not a
things.
tumor.
It's one of those things that, you know, you got to keep it 100. You gotta state the facts, and
Why not?
Well, there's been a big audience though that has watched his matches. I mean, there's one
Why
match
not
out.
500? Why's it got to be 100?
like the best thing about me, Craven, that you are now realizing is I keep it real. I'll come straight for you, and I want as many people as I say something about to come to me like a man and say something to my face. But right now, you're looking like a keyboard warrior trying to play defense.
Well, Mr. Craven has a response, and it's a fair response actually. And he says, "Hey, how about you come to Wisconsin and step in the ring and fall to me? So, would you want to go down there? I know you made it.
I got a question for that.
Sure.
Is that me coming to Wisconsin and me and you have a legit wrestling match to see who wins? As Chris Craven said last night, is that me making you squeal like a little bitch? Because you know that you're in a ring with a real wrestler, or is that me coming to Wisconsin for you to tell me, oh, you're going to lose to me tonight? Because I'm gonna say this. But what I do, I bust my ass for it. When I go out there, my number one thing isn't to make myself look good. It's to put on the best show for everybody and anybody that's fucking watching. Your moniker is you want to make yourself look good at any chance.
Well, they have some matches with 8,000 views, 9,000 views at Craven's in it. So there is an audience.
You can do 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. But how many of those people are coming back? Because here, let me do this. You said WCE, right?
Yes, Wrestling Championship Entertainment, correct.
For a
follow them, WCE Heat on YouTube and Facebook, WCEHeat.com. Do give them a follow.
Let me see.
Craven Rage, it's not really appropriate to say you want another man to come bow before your crotch or something, or fall before you. Like, I mean, he looks like Andy Kaufman, but I don't know if he looks like the
This is where it comes up. This is where it comes up, Craven. And I'm logistics.
Okay, sure.
If your company is so good, if you're so good, then how come when I type in WCE wrestling on YouTube, you don't pop up? You know. I'm trying to find this. Oh, now it does. Hold on, let me see.
All right, so it does pop up. All right.
So you're so good. You have so many views on one video, but you're sitting at 408 subscribers. So obviously those 10,000 people aren't coming the fuck back.
So let me ask you a follow-up question. I know, and I have a bunch of comments here. I'll get to people because a lot of people are tuned in right now, and I kind of knew this was going to happen. But I mean, you've obviously been following. I know you're in the Indies now. I know you're in the Indies, but I'm sure you've been keeping a pulse on what's going on out there. Mr. Craven's obviously been out there. The other Craven here, Chris Craven, is with us. But have you been following that there's some talks about other companies kind of going at each other? And one of those companies involves WCE. There's another company called the IMF, which you worked for. I mean, so where do you fall then? I know you're neutral.
I'm gonna say this. Right. Y'all want to hear some truth? Y'all, I guess everyone wants to hear some truth.
I want to know where all your female wrestling is posted on Coffin.
So here's some truth. While working with IMF for that little short period, I heard everything. I saw everything that was going on with the WCE and IMF.
Yes.
So, you know, it's kind of sad. It's really, really, really sad that, you know, you publicly admit to them that you don't want to lose and you refuse to lose. So if they come up there, no one would ever.
We know that publicly?
Like straight to their face. 100% said, I will not lose. If y'all come up here, none of y'all are going to beat me.
I mean, I don't know. Have we heard that publicly on a show? I mean,
Omen Black, Soldier GP, I know one of y'all are in the comments. Clarify. Clarify.
Well, they're here. I mean, I could play up their comments for you. I mean, what they'd like to say is Steele is the triangle player from 30 seconds from Mars.
That's fine, Omen. And you look like a makeshift fucking Rubik's Cube that never can get solved. So it's okay.
He also wants to bring up that didn't I beat you?
Didn't you beat me? Congratulations. I mean, a lot of people has beaten me, and I've beaten a lot of people. See, that's the factor. But my focus is on Craven, and because you're in the fucking chat, and you wanna act like you're some big monumental figure in wrestling, but for you to willingly say that you will never take a loss because you have to keep this moniker that you're so dominant, that's bullshit.
I mean, Skulls went from California to WC. He traveled up there. I mean, that's one.
Look, I'm gonna say this.
Sure.
When I first and me and TBW has our end dots.
Oh, I think we were all well aware. That we're well aware of. Yeah.
But I'll give TBW respect where respect is due. When I first came to TBW, and they told me it was going to be Anthony Steele versus Atomic Titan, they gave Atomic Titan the choice of what decision he wants to make. Is the Atomic Titan going to beat Anthony Steele, or is Anthony Steele going to beat Atomic Titan? And they're Atomic Titan being the world champion at that time.
I remember.
And
we had Atomic Titan on, obviously, not too long ago. We had back on here.
From the time that he won that world title until then, had not taken a loss at all. Willingly said that he'd take a loss to Anthony Steele. Anthony Steele then goes on and beats Atomic Titan. And then I told him, you know what? Fair is fair. So in the rematch, I think it was like a week after Summer Bash, Atomic Titan and Anthony Steele faced off again. Atomic Titan beat Anthony Steele. As a world champion, Atomic Titan had enough common decency to be like, this is a big star. This is a hot rising star in the backyard scene right now who is traveling, using their own money, their own car, their own gas that they have to pay for, buy food, buy housing for where the fuck they're going to stay, all this stuff. And y'all don't pay a damn fucking thing for it. We're going to have him come in and beat our world champion. But Craven Rage, you look at IMF who has more subscribers than you do, almost 2 to 3 times the subscribers that you do. And look at them and say,
well, I mean, I don't know the politics enough of that. It would be unfair for me to get in the middle of that. I will play up some more comments here. Daniel Banner wants to say, I am sure you're familiar with Grimm's toy show, GTS. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he also wanted to add, but he also says, every time I watch your streams, Tom, I'm always looking forward to the rivalry story and matches. I appreciate that very much. Some of it I know goes and kind of walks the line a little bit, and I'm trying to walk away from some of it here. Omen Black says, Zordon keeps calling Chris, don't ghost him now, like how Gunshot will ever forever ghost Sportzwire. Well, that's one name that we kind of really don't want to bring up here too much, and kind of the super soakers, slingshot, whatever, toy gun, the gun with no water in it, whatever you might want to call it.
Gunshot is poser personified.
There's certain guys, unfortunately, that maybe they should reevaluate what their plans are. I mean, he would be one name at the list. There's another guy. I don't want to mention his name because he might be coming on tomorrow, but he's also similar to that, but he loves coming on, so I'm going to plead the fifth on that. All I can say is his name is basically 2 letters and 1 number, so that gives you the hint on who that person might be. But let me come back. CJ Black would like to say to you, Mr. Steele, watch a CJ Black match, and you'll learn everything you need to know how to work the indies. You're welcome.
I mean, I know how to work the indies because I'm on the indies, but thank you for the I'll watch a match, I guess.
I guess maybe the Jack Delta best friendship's working there for him, you think?
I'm going to say this. I know Delta. I've told Delta.
And I'm going to plead the fifth on the Delta relationship because I know it could get real personal here right now.
Whatever's happening with Delta right now, I have no interest in knowing what's going on with Delta right now.
Sure.
Delta's doing his thing. I'm doing mine.
Yes. I mean, that's Taylor, by the way, not too long ago.
I've been asked multiple times if I were to come back to the yard, is there any certain circumstance that I come back to the yard? I told him, facing Delta is one match that I would love to have because at the time at the time period it was, from when I was starting, 2-3 years in, Delta was the man. Delta was the guy that you wanted to face. And
Well, he's like the backyard darling right now. He's
Yeah.
the guy that if you think about backyard wrestling, every company wants his name pretty much because he sells you views, he gets you out there, so he's a big deal, and understandably so.
There's people like, because I'm still reading these comments as it's going on. Yes, I know. I talk with my fucking head. But it's Craven. You first of all, you fucked up in your own comment saying I've been in this business for 27 years, dude. I'm not even 27 years old, so there's no way I can be in here for 27.
Well, he's giving you credit now. You made it to the NBC.
But you want to say I put on 5-star matches? Where? Show me proof. That's where I come from.
Mr. Tom Bryce, I got to interrupt. I'm sorry, Steele. There is another BEWA wrestler watching this show right now.
Tell us.
The name of Roland Havoc.
Roland Havoc, interesting name.
Master of the fucking ring, Roland Havoc. I just wanted to give him a shout out. He just sent me a message. He's checking this shit out.
Well, may I give a shout out to Mr. Havoc?
Absolutely.
Well, I'd like to say hello to Mr. Havoc, and I would like to say if Mr. Havoc is out there in the World Wide Web, and I know that he's watching us right now live on Sportswire Radio, if he would like to get in touch with yours truly, I would love to have a conversation with Mr. Havoc. I'd love to have him come on the show. Who knows? Maybe even wants to talk with you one day. Maybe even wants to, I don't know, come live on the show.
Wait. There's more.
Mm-hmm.
Chris the Mad Bomber just commented on your page. That is the
It was this person here. Now, this is interesting
Mr. Bomber.
because I get a caps lock comment here. Caps lock. OMG. It's Roland Havoc. This is a big, holy effing you know what moment.
Sports radio.
But back to the Craven.
Well, this is a bit. Well, before you do that, Roland Havoc, I just want to make just one more point I missed out, and I'll let you go back to that comment. I know there's people out there, they want to get in with their shots on both you guys. But, Mr. Havoc, if you are listening, I promise I won't bite you. I promise we'll definitely have you on the show anytime you'd want. I'd love to talk your story, maybe even share some more moments here with Mr. Craven himself. And if you're out there...
Get Bomber too, man.
I'll get anybody. Listen, anybody's welcome on Sportswire. We welcome everybody here on the floor. So if the Bomber wants to come on, if Mr. Havoc wants to come on, I will make sure that the red carpet is rolled in. And certainly we want to say hello to those individuals. And I hope they're enjoying themselves. And
I do too. It's really good to see their names pop up on there.
Does that make you feel good now, Mr. Chris Craven? I'll get to you back.
Oh, yeah. It's a little piece of home with this show. Like, I've got all these other companies that you guys are talking about, and then you guys have always wondered about my history. Well,
and I was wondering about that because I heard you say a couple of things last night on the show with Mr. Taylor, and you were talking about some boys in a company in Ohio. You were talking about a company in Iowa. You were talking about these different people you were talking about, and I got to ask it again because now we have a little bit of a bigger audience and some new people tuned in who didn't get a chance to maybe listen to you on the Nemesis sessions or even on Monday's show. Is the fire starting to come back in that belly a little bit?
A little bit. I'm old though. I mean, I'd have to really think about that, but definitely, it feels really good to have you guys have, like I said, you guys have always wondered, like you guys have always been curious about my history since I've been on the show, and it doesn't get any more in depth with history than Mr. Roland Havoc and Mr. Chris Bomber. Like just the three of us, we go back. Like both of these guys got 20 years plus. Yeah, I was hearing you guys talk a little bit about that on the show yesterday with Taylor, and the experience that you guys have. I think that would be a huge asset to us here. And Bomber, I've told him this personally. He has got a mind for this business. The way the psychology he has with writing, and the way he puts a show together. If any of the other feds are listening, take from this guy. Listen to him. Because he's the one reason that the storylines, the scripts, he'd come out, start a finish, a little bit in the middle, you're losing, you're winning, whatever. But ultimately, this guy, he sat for hours in his off time doing this. He didn't, this was almost like a second job for him. And he's brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant when it comes to running an organization. And if any of the other guys are listening from these other groups, if you ever get a chance to hear him on here or talk to him, take from him. He's got a lot of good advice. Same as Havoc.
All right, I want to come back to that, but I do want to say one thing about CJ Black, because I actually do want to ask you a question, Chris Craven. There'll be people who will appreciate this. And I have a bunch of comments, but I actually do want to give a shout out to CJ Black. I do, because I want to say this about CJ Black. I know, obviously, Delta we spoke about, but I will say one thing, Anthony Steele. I know you're in the Indies, but ROEW, which I really recommend you give them a follow. They're on YouTube. They're on Instagram at ROEW Backyard Wrestling. And these guys really do put their content out there. It's not just like we're going to put each other through tables and burning barbed wire and fire. And they really, speaking of that creative side, speaking about that storyline writing, what they're doing in that company is they're putting on methodical, almost like a throwback to a style, let's say back in the Mid-South, back in the old NWA, the AWA. And I think that CJ, regardless what anybody thinks about CJ Black, I think, this is in my opinion only, you can take it whatever the way you want, he's got one of the best minds out there. I think his ring work is up there, is as good as anybody's right now in the yard scene, regardless of what people say, if he's friends or not with Jack Delta. I thoroughly enjoy the ROEW product. And I would say one thing, Anthony Steele, definitely evaluate some of the things you may have said. CJ Black can go. This guy, what he does.
I'm not taking anything away from these people. You know, if I haven't watched your work, I'm not going to sit here and speak on anything.
I would.
Like you said, you know, I'll check out your tapes. I'll check out what you can do. If I like it, I'll shoot up to fucking Ohio.
Well, he's in Michigan. Ohio is DKW. Yep.
I'll shoot up to Michigan, dude. I'll shoot up to Michigan. I have no problem. I love to travel. I love to fucking go do some shit. And if I really like your art, then let's see what we can do together. That's how I put it. But you know, guys like that at least can humble themselves and, you know, speak from the heart, not from their ass. That's the people that I respect. Now, Craven Rage, going back to your comment where you said like you put on 5-star matches. Where? Because I'm gonna say I watched the number one thing that you wanted me to watch. The number one thing you wanted me to watch was the Dead or Alive, fucking pay-per-view that y'all had.
They've had a few this year. Yeah.
Or the one from 2 months ago. So that was
The one with are you talking about the one with Prince Charles? Was that the match you watched?
Craven Rage versus Catalyst.
The James Marshall match, which was prior to that. Yep.
So,
Okay.
You know, you say you put on 5-star matches, homie. I watched you. I watched you do a cutter to the outside and fuck it up. A cutter is one of the easiest moves to really pull off. You jump up and you go down. It's not that hard. It's really not. I'm training my niece right now to wrestle. My brother's giving me the.
I knew he was wrestling a girl. All Kaufman.
I'm training my niece how to wrestle. My niece, who is 2 years old, can do a cutter better than me. Like that's the thing. Like, and she's just doing it for fun. She really doesn't even know what she's doing at that point. Like it comes to the fact where, you know, where it's at. Bullshit is bullshit. You want to say 5-star matches, dude? I'm not going to sit here and say I always put on 5-star matches.
No, listen. Meltzer is certainly, he has an opinion, but it doesn't mean it's the Bible. I mean, everybody's, you know, interpretation of a great match is totally different. But I got some more comments, and I want to come back to a few other things here. First, Daniel Banner said, I would like to get an interview in the future. Absolutely. Let me watch you next weekend in the Fountains Church, and then we'll talk afterwards. And I think, Daniel Banner, I actually have a big announcement after that show that I'll have, which you'll be really intrigued about. But in the meantime, I'll be on with coverage for the show Wednesday night with somebody you might see in the ring, Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling. He is the Bolton Town Rumble winner last month, and Bentley will be in his usual spot. So I look forward to that. And Craven, do you know an Isabella Mellon?
Yeah, it's a friend of mine's daughter.
Hello. Well, she says hello. Crazy.
What's up, Bella?
And let me get some more comments. Appreciate the kind words, Chris. There will be a time to have a Mid-Atlantic retrospective, but for now, it's awesome to learn about folks in other regions. Now, can I make a fun comment here, Chris? My first thought when I saw Chris was, is he related to the Blue Meanie?
Is Bomber related to the Blue Meanie? No.
He looks like him a little bit. Doesn't he not look like him a little bit?
Bomber, if you're listening, put Party Clown on, man. He's the one in the evening gown and the clown mask.
And if I'm not mistaken,
Mad Bomber.
And if I'm not mistaken, you guys are not too. The Meanie grew up, I think, in Delaware. You guys are not too far from Delaware, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's right next door.
That's why I thought maybe there was some relation. And CJ Black would like to say, I hope you're a fan of art. Consider me Michelangelo. That was funny. Now, this is what I'd like to see. There's a great talent and legends like Chris Craven and also Roland Havoc. WC Showdown in the Yard coming soon to YouTube. Yeah, well, definitely. I have a lot of WC coverage ahead, but let me ask you guys both this question. I'll dial it back for a second. I know other people want to get in, but I want to go back to the creative side. Let me ask you guys both this question because obviously you guys are pros. Obviously, you have more experience than Mr. Steele, but have you guys ever wanted to get in on the creative side, maybe help out in the different companies and the different yards? Did you guys ever approach that, or would you want to get involved in that? Talk to me about that, because we do have wrestlers here that might actually want to hear this.
Oh yeah, like the creation process of wrestling, all the way from design all the way up to character development to put a show on. It's that's the fun part. Like that's the real fun part. Getting in the ring is fun, but that's the real fun part, because when you can build something up just from scratch, like I mean. I can't tell you, like, and they're watching Havoc and Bomber, like the creation of a lot of the guys that we rolled with, like everybody wanted to play a part. It was like everybody was chomping at the bit to have some sort of creative input, whether it was with their own gimmick or with something. And Bomber is he never took anybody's creative. He had his own mindset, his own vision, which is good because it worked that way. But he took some ideas. But being part of the creative process is like, we had guys all the time that were like, maybe we should have more than one camera view. We should have maybe 3, or we should have 4. We went from having a radio to having sound equipment. Be creative with that. Be more intricate with the audio. We went from having wired mics to wireless mics. Like these were all people's creative ideas to do this. They had people that were designing their own shirts. They were designing their own gear. They were spending the money. And the creation showed, like all the creative attributes that to all these guys that showed.
And were you somebody that was in a position to give those ideas if you felt there was something you wanted to, kind of maybe give or offer?
So before BEWA, I was very big in the creation process. I was,
like
I've told you, I was helping people with their names, with their gimmicks.
Yes, we spoke about that off the air, even correct.
Some people didn't even know how to set up their finishing moves. Okay, try this, try that.
Well, you guys yesterday were talking about finishers with Taylor. I thought that was so fascinating.
And like after when BEWA started, Bomber really took over the whole process of that, and I stepped back and I watched this mastermind work. But I still did creation stuff with some of the guys that I was friends with. Like I mentioned before, my friend Mac Daniels, God rest his soul. I've helped him so many times with his creation because he didn't have a real good imagination with this. And me and another gentleman by the name of Artemis Riggs, we would always help Brian with his creation. Like we had his back, like meaning, and by the time it was he got up to being Mac Daniels, and he was great. Like, I mean, he was a good big man, and it worked for him. Like, it's not just don't only worry about creating for yourself. I enjoyed creating for other people because it's like, hey, I mean, not a lot of people take criticism, but when they do take the criticism well and they apply it, like you can help somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. You can really help others. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I listen to different podcasts with different wrestlers, and I always thought it's fascinating to kind of ask that because even though I've been doing this for a long time, I've never really asked that because, when we do with a lot of British professional wrestlers, and there's a lot of, I know we speak a lot about backyard stuff, but in that scene, there's a lot of politics. I mean, so it's like you want to be very careful in asking that because guys are worried about, because they come on the show, and it's like serious stuff because guys could lose their spot. They could lose a match because someone was like, you have to be very careful to ask that. But for you, Anthony, I mean, I was curious. I mean, you've obviously always been creative, but have you ever, whether it's in the yard or even, I know now you're at the early stages of being an indie guy, but you ever wanted to maybe give some thoughts on a match or a finish or anything creative?
Did he create that hairdo?
So,
well, if it makes you feel better, I am not one to talk. Because I haven't seen a razor blade since Obama was president, right?
Oh, you were straight up Logan it. You were straight up Logan it right around here, man. Like,
Anthony Steele.
is he frozen?
So-
Oh, no, he's not frozen.
There you go.
I'm still here. I was
Okay, good. I hope you're here.
In NGJPW, the early, like I say 2-3 years in, the owner, the dude that was writing the scripts, was having like a hard time figuring out what something new to do. And so, I helped him. I helped him out. I was like, yo, this is how the direction should go, because when I help create stuff like that, I don't look at it as a wrestler aspect. I look at it as a fan aspect. What would the fans want to see? What would make sense in this, predicament that is going on right now? And even I can't say what, but some of the stuff that I'm about to do on the indie scene, I've helped, figure out how to intertwine with everything. And I love the creating part for the simple fact because when I get into creative, it doesn't benefit me. It benefits the talent. Because again, it's about from my perspective, fans. Without them, there would be no Anthony Steele. Without them, there would be no Chris Craven. Without them, none of us would be doing what we're doing right now. And my main priority is to give them the best show that they can have. Especially if you're out there spending money to come see the show, they deserve everything that they pay for.
Mr. Bryce, real quick.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Havoc would like to know how to get on your show. He'd like to come on.
He wants to come on now, or he wants to?
I don't know if he wants to do it now. If he wants to do it now, that's great. But he asked me.
I will always got to do is if he wants, he can message me on Facebook at Tom Bryce. Send me a friend request, and if he wants to come on and do a standalone interview and talk about his career, I'm happy to have him on or whatever he wants. So yeah, just give me a friend request on Facebook and message me, and that's the best way to get in touch with me. Because I do have a YouTube at Sportswire Radio. You could email me through there, but I'm on Facebook right now. So just give me a friend request.
His email. I don't know. He didn't say if he wanted to get on now. He just said how does get on
okay. Okay, well you gave me his email. I mean, does he want to link now? Does he want to just come on sometime?
I don't know. Would you like to come on now since you're watching?
Well, let me know. But in the meantime, let me get some comments here. Anthony Steele, for you, Craven Rage would like to say, if you think you have what it takes to go against me, hey kid, I have no problem taking you to school. Bro got Cravenated. Who got? First of all, who got Cravenated is what I want to know. Big Melons. Who's Big Melons?
So my friend April.
Oh well, hi April. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Mr. Taylor, by the way, says Craven, don't call Anthony out. You might regret that because I heard you guys going back and forth yesterday. Speaking of that, and I'm sure we might actually have some guests coming on. And hint, that might be one of your hints. But I heard last night on the show some back and forth about you guys maybe in a match in a ring sometime. Is that going to happen as a possibility? Because I did hear a little bit of that last night on the Nemesis sessions. I mean, what's up with that?
You versus James?
No, you versus Chris Craven. Maybe it was just like
I laid out the challenge. Whether it's me traveling to Maryland or
that's what I'm saying. So Anthony Steele, what do you want to say to that?
I have no problem, dude. I take on all comers. Like I said, this dude's been doing this a lot longer than me. So
Anthony Steele. It's the real deal. Anthony, too many meals. Come on, man.
I don't think you're in that. Listen, Anthony Steele, I don't think you're in that bad shape. You're in okay shape.
I'm in decent shape.
I think you're in decent shape.
I've watched his content. I'd have no problem getting in the ring with him. I really wouldn't. No, for real. He can do his work. So I guess it's all a matter of
when, where, and
whether he wants to play with this one or not.
No, I guess now I heard you guys speak. Now this is what I want to talk about here. Does it matter for a promotion? Does a promoter have to put this on? I mean, does it matter what company, where, when? I mean,
pick a time, a date, and a place.
Send Havoc an email, man. Send Havoc a link.
Send him a link. Okay, let me get him. Let me get what's that email again? Let me do that here, and let me get that email. Okay, thank you very much.
Dude, it's my whole thing right now.
A link right now.
I'm still new on Indies, but I want to face as many people as I can. I want to learn as
Well,
much.
who do you want to face right now? Because I have a feeling we might be being joined by a guest that might maybe want to have a match with you for all I know.
Oh, I want Rowan Havoc against Steele. I want him to hit the verdict on Steele. Oh,
Well,
that'd be so sweet.
I guess for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio, am I speaking with Mr. Havoc, or I have the Bomber that's coming on? Remind me again who is my next person here coming on? 'Cause I just sent the link.
Fuck you, Bomber. Fuck you.
Probably the Bomber. Okay.
The hell with you, Bomber.
Question for Coach Craven: does the chain smoking help or hurt your cardio? That's a good question.
It's good for my abs. It's good for my it's good for my video game thumb button.
Well, what brand of cigarettes do you smoke? Fun question.
Yeah, what cardio? Yeah, that's right, April. What cardio?
I mean,
what brand of cigarettes?
It's Maverick.
Okay. By the way, CJ Black, while we wait for our next guest to come on here, plus I'm sure more others.
Smoking. I'm trying.
I've seen Steele versus James Taylor. Not bad. We try not to invite anyone here if they don't seem like they don't have an idea how to work or don't look coachable at all. Those are two names that could come.
CJ, you can find me on Instagram, Anthony Steele 27510.
I'll give him your information.
You can hit me up, dude. We can definitely work out some shit.
No, CJ, let me tell you something, and I'm going to say this. His company, ROEW, again, is really one of the top companies. I don't go and endorse companies. I don't go and endorse talent unless I believe in them. These guys really catch their work. Just like WCE, IMF, DKW, RWA, TBW, certainly. But, ROEW's got something going on here. And also here, Taft Taylor says, thanks, good guy CJ, and followed you. Return the favor. So he followed you just now. So also, Omen Black says, see, that's a good guy right there. Anything else?
Follow back, by the way.
Follow that. Okay, very good enough here. Now, while we're waiting for our next guest, if you are out there in the World Wide Web, and if you are on Sportswire Radio right now, please give us a sub on YouTube at Sportswire Radio. I've only been promoting the YouTube page for about a month and a half, so I appreciate all the new subscribers. On Facebook, just surpassed 500 likes, so I really appreciate that. That's even with the temporary ban on Facebook. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I am on sportnarium.com/play, which is an internet radio station, which I plug all kinds of content when it comes to music, talk, simulcast these shows. Podcasters who want to have a little bit of a dream of being on the World Wide Web, I give people those opportunities free of charge. So you can catch all of our great content there. Also, I'm on Instagram, and it looks like here, let me get to our guest that I'm going to bring up here, Mr. Craven, but let me get to a few more comments. I was like $4.99, so close to 500. If you would have told me that, I would have maybe given you a prize or something. Craven Rage, I definitely want to face Anthony Steele anytime. I will accept your challenge anytime. If you can make it to Wisconsin, let me know. I'll definitely talk to our owner. CJ Black, though, says Craven can stay in Wisconsin. He means the other Craven.
Why isn't Craven Rage on here tonight?
Do you want Craven Rage?
Well, hey, I'm not really looking forward to seeing his pap smear mask, but come on.
You want him on? Do you want Omen Black on here? Do you want James Taylor on?
Bring them all. Bring them all.
Bring every single last one.
Mr. Havoc.
Oh, Steele, shut up. Go back to
before I bring Mr. Havoc on in a second, I'm going to do what Vince McMahon famously said before he brought Hogan, Hall, and Nash in. Are you sure you want this lethal dose of injection to the likes of James Taylor, Craven Rage, Omen Black? Are you sure?
Oh, absolutely.
Be careful what you wish for here. But in the meantime, we are joined here by the legendary, that's right, legendary, Roland Havoc. I mean, Roland, we are definitely rolling on. And how you doing, champ? I mean, nice to meet you.
Well, nice to meet you too, sir. Craven up there, Chris Craven. I know there's multiple Cravens here. Chris Craven there contacted me about a week ago and was telling me about your show, and I've been checking it out. And
I appreciate
I've been watching tonight.
I hope I haven't embarrassed myself too much.
No, sir. I'm just going to give a disclaimer. I've been drinking since about 4 o'clock, and Chris Craven will tell you I love to drink, my friend.
Well, I'm gonna certainly say no comment on that, but I hope you've had a great evening, and I hope that you're enjoying yourself. And I mean, what do you think of the content here? What do you think of some of the people? And Anthony Steele, independent wrestler, and your old friend, foe, nemesis in between, Mr. Chris Craven. And I mean, what do you think here tonight? What do you want to add as a pro wrestler?
Well, I appreciate you using the term pro. I really do appreciate that, but I cannot take credit for being a pro. I do have 20 plus years of experience. Craven can actually back me on that one. Yeah, and I'm still doing the game today. If you guys want to take a shout out to Dominant Breakout Wrestling, that's
Absolutely.
where I've been working recently. I'm concurrent.
Where can we find you next in the ring?
On July 29th, it'll air on the DBW page.
Okay.
That'll be Dominant Breakout Wrestling. Okay. I sent Chris Craven the link to that. I'm sure he has it if you need it.
Yes, I would like that because I'll gladly promote that appearance you'll have in the ring, and I would be glad to promote anything I could on behalf of that company.
The promoter, the guy that runs that fed, is a super chill guy. I'm actually going to send him your information. Maybe we can get him on here sometime.
Absolutely, whatever you need. Listen. We speak with people all the time. Woo! So,
sure. Havoc was the one who tried to get that started that juices to get me back in the ring. When I spoke to him a week ago, I'd do anything for Havoc. Like, we go back. It's respect.
Nah, don't do that, man. You got to remain humble. That's the biggest part of the game.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Havoc. And
sure.
I got a bunch of wrestlers here, whether it's backyard, pro, whatever you want to call them in between. What advice would you give some of these people here tonight that are watching and listening to you? What advice would you give them?
Not to put me on the spot. Well, the biggest advice I can give really is to just stay humble. I've seen so many guys that, no pun intended, I'm in a stable called #ego, but I've seen so many guys that have like that real ego about them. And, Chris Craven can tell you this. A lot of the guys walk in and some of them come in with that attitude of, I'm the biggest thing. It's like, okay, I understand that, but what have you done to show me you're that guy? You know what I mean? Like, I won't crap on anybody because at the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
there's always somebody bad than somebody. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, like Anthony Steele here. I don't know his back history, but obviously I can tell you by listening tonight, he's got a whole backstory. He's got a history of doing what he does. You know what I mean? Like, just because I don't know him, I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, you're crap, which is, that's sure. Trash because he obviously has a back history. You know what I mean? And it's just like, to me, being humble is very important. It says a lot about you.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense. If you go into the locker rooms or wherever and you're like, hey, I used to be this and I did this. It's like, okay, I understand you have a history, but you didn't do that. Like, for example, you didn't do that here. I'm not going to dog you for doing it because you did it, but you're here at this company. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just my biggest grind, I guess you can say is.
I think that's like anything in life. I think if you go about it with the right attitude in life, they always say that if you go about things with the wrong attitude, bad things happen. So I'm always personally a believer in karma. I'm always a believer in, treat everybody with respect, say hello, ask for advice, different things like that. I do have some comments. People want to say hello to you. Sportswire Wrestling. That's a good one. You know what? At this point, I have to be honest. I'm going to make some of the guys here chuckle. I'll even make you chuckle here, Roland. I did a regular sports show Friday nights, and I have to be honest. I was not the same because I saw Taylor, Chris, and Steele on. My first thought was, man, it's not the same when I'm not doing wrestling. I got to be honest. I had a video game streamer, and God bless her the day before, and we have a company that does some stuff with us, but it was like, I'm known for wrestling at this point. I do anything else, and it's like, it's a waste of time. So I trust me. We really are Sportswire Wrestling, and I feel bad for
maybe
saying
wrestling is just your true calling, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. But Mr. Craven Radio said, Chris Craven, you're a true legend. I respect all your advice and learning. I'm gonna say no comment on that.
Oh, I'm sorry to laugh. Chris Butler, let me tell you something. Me and that clown go back. Look, he says it. He said it. Don't get struck by lightning, boo. You see all this lightning back here? That's happening. And he's like, oh, me drinking? That's a big surprise. You know what? I drink and I have fun. The biggest thing is I have fun. Chris Craven can back me. I'm one of the most fun guys you'll ever know.
So before I bring on my next guest in a few minutes here, and you're welcome to hang out here with us, tell me about your company, where you guys are based, and kind of how you what your role is, how you've been involved in it, and what else we should know about it. Because I obviously would like to know more about it. I'd like to cover it before the next show. So talk about it for those that are listening out there on Sportswire Radio.
Currently, like I said, I've been working with a company called DBW, Dominant Breakout Wrestling. That was a big flash. We've been currently working out of Falling Waters, West Virginia.
Okay.
But I mean, he's looking, the guy that runs it's looking to move around accordingly, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't quite know what that means, but and I haven't been with DBW for long. This may be my third or fourth year that I've been with them. I love the company. I'm the current World Extreme Champion there. My other guys, I'm in, the stable I'm in, I mentioned earlier, #Ego. It's myself, Colin Graves, and Austin James. Baby faces, you know how that works. Sure. They're the current tag champions. We love to have fun. 2-time tag champions. Love to have fun. And, we do what we do best. I mean, they were on a 504-day run as tag team champions on their first run. They won the first TLC match that company put out. I'm just like, tell me what I got to do, and I'll do it. DBW is a good place to have fun, if that makes sense, if you're a worker. There's a huge, huge internet following. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, last checked, the internet following was pushing 700,000 views.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay, so I definitely want to cover this then. If you type in Dominant Breakout Wrestling, I mean, I'm sure the logo will pop up. It's like a red lettering DBW. It should pop I'm doing it right now on my Instagram before I bring on my next guest. Dominant Breakout. Is it Dominant Breakout Wrestling? Was that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I want back in. Havoc, you gotta help me out, boss.
Say it again.
I want back in. You gotta help me out, boss. You're frozen.
Yeah, I gotta find where the company is, and I don't think you guys are on Instagram.
There we are.
Yeah, I said it's your turn to recruit me.
Well, I know we got about 35 plus guys. Yeah, and well, you remember for the longest time, Chris Craven, you'd know this. For the longest time, #Ego was just the three of us. It was myself, Colin Graves, and Austin James. We just took in a fourth member, the Blaze, Ace Christian.
Ego has been different variants throughout the last 10 or 15 years or whatever it's been since BWA.
Don't remind me of the time. Yeah, it's been different variants. But I think for the last, 7 years, maybe between 5 to 7 years in that area, it's been at least up this way. Cause I know VA has another branch of #Ego run by Robbie Wayne and Company. Up Robbie here's Wayne. Been,
shit, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah. Hey, good dude right there. Myself, Colin, and Austin, we've been running #Ego, up this way we've been Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware,
the faction has
West Virginia,
New Jersey,
and Jersey, by the way. Shout out to Austin James, if I can, who had a show in Jersey today. So shout out to him.
The faction has chapters. You hear this, Bryce? The faction has chapters.
And I see also you guys have a big
and I've taken this chapter from Maryland, PA, Delaware, Jersey, West Virginia, damn straight. Robbie Wayne, that was the creator. He allowed me to run it to the best I can, and I've just been doing what I can with it.
And I have here some more comments, and I guess
sure.
some funny comments here. I'll come back to some of them here.
Have it,
First,
Lisa.
Daniel Banner would like to say he's off to bed because he's in England and it's 4:00 in the morning there. And
Wow.
he says, thank you. Yeah, well, we have a big following in England. I cover a lot of British wrestling companies because I have an internet
Oh, no
radio
kidding.
station. Yeah, and I actually run the station. Prior to me running it, it was a British boxing promoter that had got in touch with me, and I kind of got my in British pro wrestling during COVID. So thank you for that. IMF Wrestling hashtag. Nicholas Crenson, both you guys know him, Mr. Craven, Mr. Steele. At the end of the day, wrestling should be fun.
I agree.
CJ's voice, I can't wrestle today. I'm sick. James Taylor voice, I don't like the hashtag kid, but I respect it. This shit is a real medical condition. It affects millions. It's a real thing for me. IMF Wrestling in a hashtag. I appreciate that. Sportswire Wrestling. All right, so fair enough here on that. So obviously, Mr. Havoc, we're going to see you in the ring on the 29th also. We're going to see you out there in the ring.
Yes, sir. If you tune in to the premiere for DBW Double Cross, July 29th on the YouTube page.
I see that just now. In fact, I was trying to friend Brian Phillips, who looks like is one of the big stars of the company, and I can't seem to add him on Facebook.
Brian Phillips, he is an amazing and awesome dude.
Yeah, I see.
He is a great wrestler too.
He's a big deal. I see him right there in front of me.
He has been a lot of places, and he's one of the reasons why I'm still in the game. He gave me a shot, and like I said, I absolutely love DBW, and I'm doing, I'm able to do what I can do. I'm still physically able, so I must be doing something right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at the end of the day, if you can go or not, right? I mean, you got to make that call, and Chris Craven, in a conversation we had me laughing when he said, "Oh, I mean, I'm more of a fan nowadays," and I was like, "Really?" Seeing what our history, but if you got to do what works best for you at the end of the day.
Can I ask you a question, actually? Because I have Anthony Steele on here. Anthony Steele is an up-and-coming, emerging star, independent wrestler. Before I bring on my next guest, I mean, are you guys looking for new talent? Because this guy, Anthony Steele, might have the best Claymore in the business.
Claymore, interesting.
The best Claymore in the business, other than Drew McIntyre, obviously.
That is an interesting move. I want to see the foot. Is there footage of this? I want to see that because I think it's a unique move, a nice variation of. I mean, if you want to break it down, it's a nice variation of the big boot, a running boot that Andrew Martin, aka Test, used to do. I mean, it's an interesting variation. I mean, I'd like to see it. I think it's a unique move. As far as bringing on, what's this? Go to Tennessee, Beck. Okay, I'll check that out in a little while.
Here you go. You can watch it right here.
Oh shit! Yeah, he's got a plan. Okay.
If you missed it.
Okay, it's just stunner. Oh shit! Oh, that actually looked pretty damn sweet. If you want my opinion.
I'll say this. That's been on TikTok. It's been on TikTok since January 3rd of this year. It has over 26.8 thousand likes.
Nice, very nice. Well, in order for if DBW roster is taking more talent, I know as of now we've got about 35-ish.
Well, I got a big roster, 35 wrestlers.
A
huge roster.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's one of the issues that I think Brian's facing. But I mean, yeah, if Anthony Steele, you want to reach out to Brian Phillips and just talk to him, I mean, you guys can probably work something out. He's he's the guy that puts the shows together, and the owner.
I tried to get in touch with him on Facebook, and he does not accept friend requests for whatever reason. So maybe he's got too many friends. But I tried to give him a friend request.
Okay. Yeah. I'm actually. I talk to him on a regular basis. We'll say like every few days. I will throw him your name. And
I just followed him on Instagram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag him in our segment to get his attention. But certainly, because I have a bunch of guys out here right now that may want to go out there and maybe they want to try out for your company. I have the IMF guys, they're learning. They've been doing some stuff with Levi McDaniel. I have a guy like CJ Black from Michigan, not too far from you guys, and he's a strong performer. And obviously,
a lot of hungry guys, Havoc.
Listen, and that's why I wanted you here, Roland.
Bring them.
And I definitely want to have you for a standalone also. But, one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on and got in touch with the coach here is that, we do a lot of coverage with wrestlers on Sportswire, whether it's in England or whether it's across the country here. And guys are hungry. They want to learn. They need knowledge because they're not getting it out there or not getting it enough. And there really isn't, if I could say this humbly, there really isn't a platform out there in really, whether it's a podcast, a radio show, that's given wrestlers an opportunity to talk to each other, continue their storyline, build things. We even a couple of weeks ago had a storyline where a wrestler attacked another wrestler here on Sportswire. So the reason I was bringing you on here, and I like to establish a relationship with you here, my friend, that there are a lot of wrestlers out there that they're hungry and they don't have that venue. They can come on here. I equate this, if you don't mind me saying this again, sir, I equate this almost as like if you were a fan of music in the 1980s when it was the thrash metal scene and the heavy metal scene where it was everybody was tape trading, everybody was word of mouth. And I feel a lot of that similar energy. And that's kind of why I wanted to connect you and see if you could give some insight out there.
Well, I want to, first I want to tell you that I heavily appreciate it. If I have an answer to someone's questions, or if I'm able to give anybody any type of advice whatsoever, and I have something to offer them, then for sure I'll say it. I mean, like Chris Craven will tell you, the two names I mentioned earlier, Colin Graves and Austin James.
Yes.
Since I've been working with them, they've gone from being, if I'm going to use a phrase, pawns of the business, which is, that's like low.
Well, I guess that could be the internet out where you are in West Virginia, right? Because I'm sure it's probably near a hailstorm or whatever it might be. So we'll try to get you back here.
I think he's in Maryland. It's storming here. He might be still in Maryland.
Well, let me get to some comments here in the meantime. I want to say hello to CJ Black again. Tess Big Boot was amazing. Again, Tess was one of those guys, if I'm not mistaken, he had the look straight out of Central Casting. One of those guys that should have been a little bit bigger than he was. I mean, I think he won the Intercontinental title, had the tag title, had a bunch of other titles, but never quite was a world champion. And
there we go. Can you guys hear me?
Now I hear you.
We kind of froze screens. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Next question. Are you on Instagram?
I am not on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. If that helps you.
Yeah. How can we find you at Roland Havoc on Facebook? Because I'm getting messages that guys would like to send you a friend request. They would like to talk to you off the air. Maybe you can connect with some of these guys.
You're gonna get blown up, Havoc.
Well, Chris Craven, I don't have what they call like a character page. I didn't really do that. I'm for real, but my character is Roland Havoc. But on Facebook, you can find me under my real name, and I'll be happy to discuss with whoever when I get a shot. I mean, Chris Craven could tell you that. I'm when I get a shot to talk to people, I'll tell my real page. And I'll say my name out here. We're breaking kayfabe. My real name is Matthew Manning. So you'll find me under that. My picture, if it helps, my profile picture is the DBW roster photo. I'll be in like a denim vest. I'll be like that.
Yeah, I just found you on Facebook. I'll certainly send you.
Are you really raising?
Oh, you did find me. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
I got you here. Yeah,
I got you. It's starting to rain here.
Are you?
Well,
yes,
I don't
sir.
want to keep you because if it's going to rain, because I certainly definitely want to have another interview with you. Let's definitely.
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to get electrocuted or anything like that. So I just sent you a friend request on Facebook. I will let guys know that you're Matthew Manning on Facebook. I will give a bunch of guys your information. and maybe you can.
Yeah, and
talk.
if they message me, just have them put down there like, "Hey, man, I saw you on the show." So I know. So you're a
mention my
legit person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mention my name
Because with all this crap going on nowadays about people, copying pages and all that crap.
Well, if you don't mind me saying this, and I'll be very humble when I say this, I don't think anybody A looks like me and B talks like me because I'm from New York. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. So
you know what? You have a unique facial hair there, and I kind of like that. I'm digging it.
Well, that's why I highly doubt, sir, because I've been told this since pretty much the minute I was born. There was nobody like me, whether it was my last name, whether it was my look, even as a kid. So I can guarantee you there'll be nobody that is like Tom Bryce. But that's why I want you to be safe out there. Go inside. We'll talk another time. And I definitely want to get in touch with you, and I want to talk about the company.
Hey, man, I live dangerously. My quote now, like for DBW, is I drink and fight. I ended up winning their World Extreme title by drinking and fighting. So, but I do listen. It's kind of funny because it started as like a joke, but so much to my chagrin, it took off, and I kind of got over there with it, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
I want to see Steele against Roland Havoc, man. I want to see Steele take the verdict.
Ooh.
Who take the verdict?
I want to see him take the verdict. Steele. I want Steele.
Who's taking the verdict? Who's getting verdict?
I want Steele to take the verdict. I'm starting
Steele. Well, here's the deal. I listen. If Steele comes up and we got a couple days to throw something together, we can work something out. Like I said, at the end of the day, if we're talking behind the scenes, it's not so much about the W or the L. It's about putting on a story and making people believe what you're doing.
Well, it's not about the 1, 2, 3. And if there's a company like DPW where I can certainly talk about here on Sportswire, I am certainly welcome. The door is always open with me here. So, obviously, I'd love to have you on before the 29th. Give me your schedule. I'll message you and get inside. And, thank you for your time.
Yes, Bomber. I took the verdict 15 years ago.
I do have a question.
Well, as far as the verdict, the verdict is in the vault, as they say. I've kind of gotten known for doing the. Yeah, you say no, and I totally get it. I pull it out if needed, but as of the last few years, I've gotten known for the $1 Million Dream, which the Cobra Clutch Slam, and the most popular move. And I'm a huge fan of the wrestler that does the move, and it just makes sense for me. But I've gotten known for the jackknife powerbomb, which I call the H bomb. Play on words, because it could be the hydrogen bomb or is it the havoc bomb? Aha!
So I do got a question. Are you related to Peyton or Eli?
Oh man, you stole that.
Look, I laugh and I'm totally on par with you because I love that question. And the truth to that is I really don't know. I've never done the back history. I've never researched it.
We'll see.
I mean, for all I know, I could be. Look, and if it's the case, I would so love to sit down on a Sunday with Peyton and just watch football. I was like, look, I'm not after your money, bro. Just enlighten me.
You would be a welcome addition to those Monday night shows they do where you watch the games with them. You would be a welcome addition with your personality.
The reason why I asked is because my real name's Anthony Holloway. And so I get the question, am I related to Max Holloway from the UFC?
Okay.
Look, I just turned 38, so I don't know if I look it. Well, thank you. Like I said, I just turned 38, and for years I've been getting that question, and it's something that just makes me chuckle now because, like I said, for all I know, I could be.
Well, I actually have a question for you guys. Actually, even it's for Mr. Craven as well, because one of my good buddies is a guy, JR Wind, and he is with a company out there.
JR, what's good?
He says, come to Majestic Championship Wrestling August 11th in the Muskogee Reservation, Oklahoma. So if anybody's not doing anything in Oklahoma, if you want to be on a show, JR has been one of our biggest supporters on Sportswire.
Roland Havoc, we're going to have to carpool all these things. Like,
And
Look, man, there was I'll be honest, there was a time where I thought it's time for me to just be done. I was ready. But my stablemates, like I said earlier, Colin Graves and like Chris Craven, you know them, Colin Graves and Austin James, looked at me and said, nah, it ain't time yet. Here I am 5 years later going, I'm still playing the game. What the fuck?
Listen, man, Flair's 73, and he wrestled last year, and if he could, he would want to wrestle. And Hogan was on a podcast about 2 months ago, was saying he's felt the best he's felt in 30 years, and he wants one more match. So in wrestling, you can never say never. That's the bottom line.
I'm a living example.
Well, that my friend is very true.
How many times have I retired?
I've seen guys, and Craven, you've too. We've seen guys have like beef or heat or whatever it is with the guys running where we've been. Oh, I'm never working here again. 6 months down the line, here they are. I'm like, oh, I thought you weren't coming back.
It was a big shocker when MUW ended and I showed up in Biba, wasn't it? Like you were talking about.
I'll be honest. I had an inkling and I like had that suspicion, but like again, you don't want to like assume anything. But when I saw you pop through the doors, I was like, oh shit. Okay, all right. What's up, man?
We had that shit worked out so secretively. It's like no, we both laughed about it at the time. We're like, they're gonna flip. No one's gonna expect you coming through the Biwa curtain after what happened with MEW, and. You talk about surprises like that, and you talk about old. Like, how many times have I retired?
I don't think I have enough fingers.
That's 3 months. And
I have one here for you, Anthony Steele from CJ Black, who might be poking the bear. I don't know. Poor Anthony Steele hasn't been this quiet since he was just you can kind of figure that out.
Damn.
Hey, CJ. It's a respect factor at this point, but I will say this to
Kaufman's been a good boy today.
Mr. Havoc, right?
Yes,
I'm not that far from West Virginia, so I mean we can make something work.
Hey, I'm down, baby.
You know what? On Sportswire, I guess we're making history again because it looks like Anthony Steele, the real deal, says he's not that far from West Virginia, and Mr. Havoc, maybe. Who knows?
Hey, I've gone. Like I said, I've been PA. I've been Delaware, Jersey, West Virginia. I mean, we can make something work, man.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You've ever been to Tennessee?
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be a dumb Yankee, as some might say.
You know what?
I'm a Mets fan. But are you near Three Rivers?
Am I near Three Rivers?
That's why Pennsylvania, Ohio makes sense.
Are you mean like in terms of where I live? I mean, no.
Yeah,
For me, no. It's a hey, shut your face. For me, it's a drive where most places I go. I'm based out of Rosedale, Maryland. I don't know if any of you guys are really familiar with that area.
My first thought was West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, we make the road trips down to West Virginia. I mean, where we wrestle in West Virginia is only maybe about an hour and an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. So, I mean, that's really not, that far of a ride. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, I also wrestle for EBW, which I don't know if you know.
You mentioned EB. I think Chris Craven, you mentioned EBW to me in one conversation we had. I know we did. You did bring that up.
Yep. They based. There's two versions of them. They run out of Jersey and out of Salisbury. I've done some work there. But my main, like I said, where I've been working recently is DBW, which I gave you the YouTube.
That you're on here, so hopefully he gets.
And I are going to have to carpool down.
The question I got is, I've been hearing this all night. What's the verdict?
What's the verdict? Well, if I was to best describe the verdict, so I would scoop you up into like the world's strongest slam move. Like how Mark Henry would hold a guy. I would scoop you into that, and I swing you into the F5 from that position. Not up on my shoulders. I scoop you from the chest.
We were talking about last night.
Yeah, I was talking about it last night. Yeah.
Hey, look.
Okay.
If you ever want to bring it back, if you ever want to bring it back in a match with me, let's do it.
Havoc, what do you think? You and me carpool down to Tennessee to meet up with him and Taylor?
Taylor ain't driving here. Do you know how many times I've tried to get Taylor out here, and this motherfucker don't even show up?
Get Craven Rage down there. We'll find out who the real Craven is real quick.
I'm not against it. I mean, like I said, I try to be as open as possible.
If you don't mind, I have one more question because I have it from a young wrestler who's been a big fan of mine. He's wrestling his first sort of official match next weekend in England, and this is from Daniel Banner, and he's with a company called GT Ministries. They're at GT Ministries UK on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and he would like to ask you, Mr. Havoc, if you would watch the next GTM show next Saturday. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. British Standard Time. I can send you the footage of him in the Rumble. If you want to analyze his match, I can give you his contact information. He's a young guy. He's been training for about a year.
To that. I mean, I'll definitely check it out when I get a shot. Yeah, for sure.
I'll give you the information. He's a nice kid. He's been training for a long time. He's had some setbacks, and he's going back in his first match. So I wanted to make sure I give him a plug. So. That's
okay.
Kind of right.
Yeah, I'll definitely. If I got a link to it, I'll definitely scope it out, see what's going on.
We'll definitely be in touch because I'll get you on before the 29th show because I definitely would actually want to talk about that, and I also want to bring up here. I remember Chris taking the verdict on a steel chair 15 years ago, which definitely had to hurt.
I'm taking that move.
Yeah, I remember that spot very vividly. It was, I think, Chris, weren't you taking like a hiatus or something?
I was supposed to. I don't think I did.
Okay. Yeah, because the spot was set up where that was your reason for being out for so long.
I think I was out for like 2 shows, maybe 3 or something. It wasn't long. But I've taken the verdict many times. Remember Patterson Park? Come on now.
Yes, sir. Well, I think the one that Chris Bomber might be talking about, or Chris Butler, real names, kayfabe. I think what he's talking about is no, because I opened the chair and when I did it so your neck hit it, it looked like you had a neck injury when we were done. I think that's the one he's talking about.
Yes. I want Chris Bomber to bring out the Guitar Hero guitar and come back with the mullet and everything.
Look, I'm a big dude, and I'll give Chris Bomber credit. He gut wrench power bombed me. I'll openly say it.
You do look big,
and it was clean. It was clean.
How big?
And I'm a big dude. Look, I'm a big mo. I don't know if you can see me. There we go. I'm a big motherfucker. But
you're big. You're a big guy.
Sorry. You are. But you know,
how big are you? How big are you?
That's what I do, baby.
Height and weight. How big are you?
You went right there.
You said height and weight?
How big are you?
Well, I'm 6 feet tall, ½ inch, and about 290 pounds.
Well, there's one guy actually that Mr. Steele's been in the ring with that I actually think he might have a weight advantage over you. His guy's name's Omen Black.
5'11",
385. He's 385.
It's Luke Combs. Is he coming?
And I put him on my shoulders and I did what I had to do. So that me and you
love it.
Do something.
Chris Craven, I'll tell you, he mentioned Mac Daniels earlier. Good dude, solid dude. Behind the scenes, he was an amazing dude. But he was a pretty big dude, and I hoisted him up on my shoulders, and everybody didn't think it could be done. And I don't know if you remember that back in the Patterson Park days, but
Mac Daniels was 6'4.5", and he was between 300 and 400 pounds. He was a big guy.
And he's like, they can't pick me up. To coin a phrase, I was like, hold my bear.
Well, would you now? I guess you're hanging with us, Mr. Havoc, but I have somebody else that actually interviewed Mr. Craven and Mr. Steele yesterday. He's also a wrestler, and he's also he's an internet sensation. He's got 41,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. They call him the Nemesis James Taylor. He is certainly another legend, another wrestling legend. He's an icon in this sport, and I'm a big fan of his. And he's here with us, and it is the legendary Nemesis James Taylor. The Tyrant King himself is in the house. James Taylor.
Are you talking cheese?
What?
No, he's not. He's getting ready. He's getting ready for a big stream, I'm sure, on 2K. He's doing something big because he's got 41,000 plus subscribers. He's a legend.
Nice.
So how you doing, James Taylor?
He just brushes it off, and I share that because in recent I had a couple people tell me you're the GOAT, and I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, don't do that.
By the way, Mr. Havoc, real quick, has anybody told you maybe you're related to Ted DiBiase? I mean, can you do the laugh for us?
I don't know, but I do appreciate that because I actually met him, and he looked at me and was like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "No, I'm here to take a photo with you, sir." So
you do have the mid-'90s Ted DiBiase look from like 94 to 96. You do have that look that he had a little bit.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, that was some good times, man.
Yes, he has a podcast now, by the way. He actually has one. It's on the Premier Sports Network, and he talks about all these different things.
Look like Ted
James
DiBiase.
Taylor, please don't get killed on the road. How are you? What's on your mind?
Good. I was just saying, I heard this man say he did the $1 Million Dream a little bit, so I would say he literally it goes with him. Look at him. The man looks like Ted DiBiase. So.
Well, it kind of started by accident because I can't remember the full match, but I think my shoulder had gotten jammed or something. You know, when you jam something, you're like, oh shit, can't really like move it fully, and I didn't trust myself to do the power bomb, so I locked on the Cobra clutch, and then I did the slam into it, and ever since that it kind of just stayed with me. People were like, "Are we going to see that again?" And I'm like, I guess so.
Hey, James. How you doing, buddy? First of all, I want to say something because I know what's going on. What's up, Tasha?
Hey.
So,
what had just happened?
Hey, wait, hold on.
Stay safe on the road. Whatever it is, stay safe on the road.
Hoffman wrestles women. Watch out.
I'm not driving. So, I'm good.
Okay, good enough.
Taylor got it under control. So, anyways, I was just listening.
Late night.
Yeah, I was just listening in. I'd like to see this man Havoc do his little H-bomb to Anthony Steele. That'd be crazy.
You know, you want to know something, James?
Shut up, Anthony. I don't want to hear it.
Look.
Big piece of trash. That's what you are.
The children are going to fight.
You sit here and you always, you should do this to Anthony. You should do this to Anthony. Why don't you come do something? Because I've been challenging you.
Dude, I've already done stuff. I've already beat your ass.
Dude,
I've beat your ass twice.
For months. You know, it's going to be almost a year. It's almost a year since our last fight.
It's 1-1. Okay, it is 1-1. I'll give you
I've been asking you, dude. Come fight me, bro.
That's just going to make the anticipation for that third and final go down even more better. The longer it goes.
My thing is, you want everyone else to do something to me. Why can't you come do it?
Because I like seeing people hurt you. It just it humors me. It pleases me to see somebody beat your ass.
Dude, I'm not scared. Havoc can't hurt me. Last night.
That's a gift of mine. I broke them. That's a gift of mine. I'm sorry.
Last night you want to say Chris Craven should come hurt me. Chris Craven ain't gonna do nothing.
Well,
he's been in and out of retirement.
Go back. What? I'm what?
Ooh, he said you've been in and out of retirement.
It got tense now.
I saw this man, Mr. Craven, take
He said Chris Craven ain't gonna do nothing.
and strap somebody to a ring post and beat his ass with a steel chair. It's worse than a concerto. I don't think you can handle that, Steel.
I know I can handle it. What's up, Ty?
Hey, Big Bomber can comment on this. I've picked big boys up in a head rush before. It doesn't. It's no challenge, really.
I'm gonna keep it.
Don't say I can't do anything or I wouldn't do anything. You may regret that statement.
Chris Craven, you can't hurt me. Roland Havoc, you can't hurt me.
Hey, Havoc, you think it's fair to the pain craver?
Ho, I can't hurt you? Is that what you just said? Listen, son, I just met you. Don't burn the bridges, clown.
You can't hurt me.
Shoot on him, Havoc. Shoot on him. You're already lit.
Listen, I didn't have lit. We talking alcohol since 4 p.m., son. Listen, I have nothing against Anthony Steele, but now he's gonna sit here and say I can't do something. Let me tell you something.
Oh boy.
Woo! Don't push it, baby. Don't push it. I was liking you, baby. You got this look about you that just tells me you got it. So don't push it. Don't push it, because it can be easily removed.
And you're definitely not going to be together.
I got what? Say it again.
You will never be the guy to do it.
Take the dick out of your mouth and talk. What?
Mr. Havoc, if I may, what Anthony has for bronze and stuff, he lacks in hygiene and intelligence. So,
First of all, James, I'm gonna tell you this. You always want to come at me. You
Dang.
always want to come at me because you want to. I guess you just want to hear yourself speak. You
Just
kind of
wanna
remind me.
know
I
you
was
hit me.
coming off
You
for a
kinda-
minute to
hold
say
on.
hello.
You're
And you like talking over people. That's all right. I do it.
kind of reminding me of Gunshot, dude. You just like to hear yourself speak.
Well, that's a little unfair. I think Mr.
Yeah,
Taylor's
wait,
a
hold
lot
on,
more
hold the
accomplished
phone.
than that.
Hey, nobody's as bad as Squirt Gun.
So, but I mean,
That's what Anthony Steele, by the way. He
directly
told
to
me a
Roland
good
Havoc.
friend. He considered you a good friend of his.
like straight to Roland Havoc. I promise you, dude. You say it can be removed, but you're not the person to remove it.
Oh, son, while you were shitting in diapers, I was building your career brick by brick, son. You don't talk to me like you know who I am. Look at you with your goofy ass hair. Why don't you grow some hair on your shack? We can sit down like men and drink some whiskey, but instead you want to run your mouth.
I mean, that's what I do.
Why don't you show me something, son?
Don't poke the bear
That's
steel.
why I told you. Pick a place, dude. I'll come to West Virginia. I'll come to your territory.
Bring your ass to me. You will learn. And that is the greatest thing you will ever experience.
James Taylor, you've got your hand raised. Jump in.
Teach me.
Hey, Havoc and Craven, I've been in this game about as long as you guys have, a little over 20 years. Anthony brought me out of retirement. I'll give him that. But I told him something similar before our match, Havoc. I told him kind of the same thing. I said that I've been doing this and helping pave the way before he was an inch in his daddy's pants.
Read your comments. Bryce.
All right.
So you're saying he was a little spermy.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
I'll let them speak for themselves.
So
Yes.
I'll let them speak for themselves.
Don't
And
let the email.
I think CJ Black kind of has the best one. Everybody's got a price. You know, you could maybe.
I like this CJ Black fella.
Hey, Steel,
Yeah,
Bryce,
I have to say, if you could actually, if I could give a cheap plug, by the way, I know that Mr. Taylor was plugging heavily this week, Mr. Black and his company, but definitely follow ROEW. They're on Instagram and YouTube. ROEW Backyard Wrestling from the state of Michigan. CJ Black's definitely an emerging talent. So I know you're a busy man, Mr. Havoc, but if you're on the old YouTube and Instagram machines, go out and check this guy out and his company, because they definitely got some really good wrestling out there, and they really do a good job out there and pushing the old storylines.
Whew. Yeah, you don't even need any coach comments today. Like, this is
Wow.
feeding itself.
But I
Like,
think this guy. I think, I got to
Let's
be
talk about
honest.
Coach.
Yeah, well, guys were really excited about this one, and clearly we haven't disappointed. But I mean, Mr. Havoc, I mean, I was so curious. Like, I know you've been drinking since 4 o'clock, and I certainly won't comment on that. But you must be just as half as interesting when you're not drinking since 4 p.m. in Eastern time. You must be somebody you must be the life of the party. Somebody that can really, carry a note or two out there.
Oh, look, before I even say anything, you see Chris Craven grinning from ear to ear. Oh, baby, I'm one of those guys. Yes, sir.
Now,
Look, my neighborhood's like, Jesus, he's at it again. Thank you.
If you think me shooting and talking on Craven Rage is something, you ain't heard this motherfucker yet. Like,
that's why
Steel
I'm trying to be very kind, because I don't want to.
poking the bear, big mistake. Big mistake.
I
You ain't
got
even
that.
here, son.
I could see that, but let me ask a fun question to you, Roland. What are you exactly drinking? What are you exactly drinking?
Well, I'm not picky. Well, yeah, this is. I mean, I had some cans of Coors Light earlier. I had some
Okay.
Miller Light. I'm down to, what is this? This is that summer drink that the Smirnoff people like to put out.
Okay.
The red, white, and blue malt.
And how do you like that so far?
Well, it's not too bad. It's smooth as fuck.
I'll take your advice on it.
I mean, people who know me know I can throw them back, but they also know that when I need to be serious, Chris Craven can attest, I can be.
Still grinning. I'm still grinning because I know.
He's
better.
over there. Look, you can tell his grin. He's like, yes, sir.
Let me ask James Taylor a question, because obviously James Taylor is here and he has graced his presence with us. I mean, I know you're a very busy man. Obviously, streams, obviously TBW. We had 148 just passed, 148th episode of Rampage. Go to the Tennessee Backyard Wrestling YouTube page to watch it. Also follow the group on Facebook, also Instagram as well. But I mean, he's also, I know the Nemesis Sessions has some big shows that are out there that have already been released this past week. But I mean, Roland's a part of a company called DPW that has over 700,000 views in the World Wide Web from their shows. I mean, I think Roland might be an interesting guest for you before their July 29th show.
I will say
it's pushing. Last time we checked, it was pushing 700,000. And actually, now as you said that, there's a program we do. There's a program we do called Thursday Night Thunder Punch, which this past Thursday had a new episode. So if you go on the DBW YouTube channel, you'll see the Thunder Punch logos. Yeah. I competed on the last Thunder Punch, so
I will. You know what? I will have you on before the 29th, and we can talk about that match in the next big show.
I have a question for James. I really have a question for James. How'd that loss feel to Profit?
Ooh.
How's a who? You talking shit to Taylor?
How'd that loss feel?
He didn't get the job done. I passed out. So it's all good.
He passed you out, man. He didn't make you tap out. He made you pass out. He took your life.
I didn't say I quit. I passed out from the Texas Cloverleaf. I was out. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match, or basically a 3 stages of hell match. Thanks for pointing that out. And yes, I passed out at the very end. It doesn't mean that I'm done. It doesn't mean that I quit. I didn't. He could have went out there. The referee could have went out there with 10 hearing aids taped to his fat little head. I didn't say I quit, so it don't matter. Don't hurt me. Now me and him are 1-1. You know, Tom Bryce. You know, there's something interesting about my career. I have just found out that there is 3 men in this world today that are alive and breathing that I have tied 1-1. Anthony Steele, the Prophet Jay Wild, and an old guy that I used to spar with back in the day, back in Texas, that I just rekindled with. The immaculate one, I'll introduce you to him later. His name's Jody Phillips. I want to throw that out there.
Yes, that was the old days you had on your YouTube page, right? Back in the early 2000s, right? The beginnings of the Nemesis James Taylor.
He's a dude. He's a real good guy. He got the Warrior Award from WWE. He was part of the Hall of Fame back right before WrestleMania 35. I can show you all the clip of that. And but he's a really good guy, and he really wants to have his tiebreaker with me. So does Anthony, and of course the Prophet. So you see, Anthony, when me and you go 1-on-1 again, whenever that is, I'm gonna drop you like a mistake again.
Well, I got a comment here, and I'll come back to that. But I had a funny one here from CJ Black. We got Kaufman, DiBiase, the Ringmaster. If you don't understand the reference, you're too young, which I know who he's talking about. Who the hell can Craven be? Well, how about this?
Look, to me, I'm taking DiBiase as a compliment. I'm just saying.
Havoc, what do you think Craven would be?
I have one. Abyss. Abyss.
Abyss?
Yeah, I've been saying that for the last several weeks on the show. You look like Abyss.
All right, I'll take it. I can get a little psycho in that ring. I'll take it. Havoc knows. Havoc was there for that show where I chained that guy to the pole and beat him.
And Abyss had some crazy matches in TNA, like the prime of TNA days. I mean, so
yeah,
I see a little bit of Abyss in you.
Taylor was referencing that earlier, Havoc, where I strapped Marcus Ruin to the post and beat him with the chair.
I have a funny one. Well,
you remember that?
May I bring up Omen Black?
What's that?
He's the stunt double from Nacho Libre.
Oh God,
Craven.
Luke Combs needs to go somewhere with that Nacho Libre shit. Go eat a fucking taco.
Craven, I think that shit looks worse than the chair.
Oh, it was fabulous. It was just beautiful. A work of art. I think it's kind of funny. We had a guy at that Biwa show, DT Gray, and at one point he brought like these big hooks. He had brought these big chain hooks.
Yes, he
right?
did.
And we were like, and I'm thinking to myself, I got to top that. I got to top that. So I brought those towing straps and I ratcheted his ass to that brain post, and it was fair game from there. It was like people loved it. I mean, I can only imagine how Bomber felt about it watching from the side of the building. Like, oh my God, I'm beating a black man in a dominant black locker room and audience.
Uh-oh.
I'm lucky I made it out of the.
Don't take a turn here. This is not a race thing.
No, it's not. But I could have been perceived as a very bad. It could have been perceived in a wrong way.
Oh, it very well could have been taken the wrong way.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Havoc? Now, what do you make of this whole? There's two Cravens. There's obviously Chris Craven and a guy Craven Rage. I don't know if you've been following this stuff, but there's a Craven Rage who's the wrestling championship in the tournament, all-out champion, calls himself the Backyard Nightmare, the ruler of the yard. Do you think that there should be a score to settle in the real Craven, kind of like the real Craven? Please stand up. Please stand up.
I mean, if it comes down to that, I mean, I said earlier, like there's a bunch of Cravens out there. I keep seeing the name, but as far as I personally know, I only know one Craven, and he's on the screen right there. I mean,
but this guy apparently
if this other Craven, if that's his name, that's his. I mean, you know, who am I? That's his name. You know what I mean? Like.
All right, now, if you don't mind, I might have another guest that might want to join us here. Now, would you gentlemen be okay with that guest if I were to bring up a guest here?
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor, did you nod yes or no? What was your
Yes.
I had to make sure. I had to make sure because I have a feeling that this guest is going to be an interesting mode. Interesting mode here. While I get that person's contact information here, because I kind of forget their information. I'm waiting for that person to send me their contact information here. CJ Black does have some advice. My advice on Craven, don't waste your time. But who does he not want to waste the time?
Yeah.
Chris Craven. We don't want Chris Craven to waste his time.
But he could be talking about Craven, Rick. He says Craven.
Because if you remember earlier, he was like, dude.
I think what he's trying to say is.
I know there's like 300 Cravens out there.
I think what he's trying to say is like I'm up here and like Rage is like down here and there's no contest. Like, hey, Havoc, maybe we should put him against Henry Swank.
Oh God.
No man should go against Henry Swank. Good Lord.
What about the Candyman or Buffalo?
They don't want the Candyman Paul Duncan up here. They don't want that. They don't want him talking about blueberry pancakes and Hershey pies and Snicker bars in the butthole. They don't want any of that.
This sounds like almost somebody's going to like the Hershey chocolate factory rather than being a wrestling match.
I have no clue.
Actually, CJ wants to clarify once again. Anthony was correct. Stay the hell out of Wisconsin. Okay, well, all right. I mean,
I'm gonna ask, who is this other guy? Is this Bomber? Please tell me it's Bomber.
Well, I'm gonna leave you guys in suspense because I kind of feel like on this
do we know this guy you're about to bring on?
Well, I mean,
Havoc will fill the cup. I swear to God,
you're gonna find out here shortly. But this individual is certainly in no jovial mood. He is in a foul mood. He is riled up. He is fired up. He, some may say, is the other Black. He is the leader of the House of Wolves, the former IMF champion of the world. His name is Mr. Omen Black. Omen Black, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing swell. What's up, guys?
How you doing, Mr. Black?
No
I'm
title?
doing good.
No title?
You ain't got one on your shoulder either. Shut up.
No title?
I'll go the Anthony Steele way. I don't need a title.
I mean, obviously you do, because after you lost the title, you lost something else, right? Are you going to be on this losing streak now?
You lost the ability to do your comb over properly.
Like,
come on now.
Omen. It seemed what I said about you was true. You needed your lackeys in order to get something done. Once Jordan, the big part of your lackeys left you.
Man, he ain't got to worry about
No.
you. If the wrestling don't work out for him, he can get a country album. Luke Combs got talent, man. You leave him alone.
Listen, thank you, Nacho Supreme. But listen, before you come at me, Steele, why don't you take your toupee and put it to the top instead of the side?
So you're not impressed then with the hair look?
I got a new one.
You know what? I came in as a fan. I'm not even in character. I came in as a fan.
Oh, you did? Okay, I
We
appreciate
got a
that.
guy from country music. We got a guy that could do Trump's hair. We got a guy that looks like Ted DiBiase. We got a guy that's got a chin for Leno. So, I mean, we got some guys here. You know, it's pretty good.
We're all interesting, right? We're all different in one way or another, right?
Interesting.
We're all unique, right? That might be a good or bad thing.
I like
All
to
we
say,
need left is Ben
James, I
Shot.
watched your last match.
What?
I watched your last match.
Oh, the one where you
Thank
lost.
I watched yours too. Hey, Omen, I'm in the same boat as you. Hey, we went out, but we're still in it.
I mean,
Hey,
let me ask you a
that
question.
boat's still sailing. It's not sinking.
Steele, I'm going to shoot here for a minute, Bryce. Steele, let me ask you a question and answer it honestly. Have you lost a match in your entire run?
Yeah.
Then shut the fuck up.
It's just funny.
If they lose matches, if they win matches, that's like you've constantly done that. Like you want to call people, oh, they lost a match. Oh, they lost a match.
Hey, well, you know what? I know that when he lost the
everybody loses a match. I mean, Craven
Hey,
Reigns.
can I actually bring something up here for Anthony Steele, if you don't mind? If you don't mind,
everybody loses a match.
I got something for Anthony Steele because I know you piled a little bit on Omen, you piled on Taylor, and certainly Havoc and the other Craven, I'm sure will appreciate this. But I know you're the indie guy. I know that you're the indie star, and the backyard's kind of you put it at the back burner. But the little birdie has told me that next July there's supposed to be almost what they call kind of like the Ozfest or the Woodstock of maybe backyard wrestling called Summer Bash. It's going to take place in the first weekend of July. And I understand a whole number of wrestlers are supposed to be there, maybe even personalities. Now, I know you're the indie darling now and you're focused on what you're doing. But, I mean, maybe you should show up and appear at this thing because I'm sure a lot of your contemporaries, your peers might be there. I mean, if you are the indie guy, maybe you can at least show up and, maybe you could even be like, who knows, the Grayson Waller of Summer Bash, where you could show up and maybe somebody might just want to
knock him on his ass,
confront you or whatever. I mean, what would you say that? What would your availability be like the first weekend in July? I mean, what do you say to that?
If I'm open, I'm open.
Oh, he's got to check his schedule.
I told you. Like I said, dude.
So I guess your agent, you have to get back to us with your agent then, right?
Yeah, he got to check his schedule.
If it's worth my time.
Hey, how about this? I'll be there. And maybe I'll bring Mr. Havoc with me. Will that entice you on that?
Yeah, I'm going to call my buddy Matt Masterson. I'm sure he would love some action too.
I want to say that.
Hey, I bring Bomber. I
don't want to spoil too much Summer Bash, but there will be a War Games match.
Ooh.
A War Games match?
Ooh.
Well, that's interesting.
Wait, hold on.
Right?
Who's hosting Summer Bash?
It's
Just
called
show up and
DKW and IMF Presents Summer Bash 2.
Just show up and move like you're supposed to. You'll be all right.
So does that entice you further, Anthony? I know you're the real deal. Like I said, I know you're the indie guy.
Oh, do you want to know who's showing up? We have Levi McDaniel's Fight Club coming up. We have WCE coming up, DKW, IMF, other indie guys.
And apparently, I guess, who knows? Maybe even this guy on the screen might show up because he says
I'll see him next year at Rage in the Cage.
You spelled my name wrong.
Promise.
Hey, I Craven.
Harvey?
Can I ask Omen, would you don't mind? Still, hold that thought. Omen, if you don't mind, because I have another individual from the WC that's with us, another champion, Nicholas Crenson. Now, at the end of Summer Bash that took place recently with yourself and some of the compadres in DKW.
One of the big selling points.
You guys had made a reference saying next stop, Wisconsin. Now, maybe you guys are on your way to Packers training camp. Maybe you guys are on your way to, I don't know, maybe a cheese factory or something. I don't know what it might have been. But would you want to clarify for those that are listening out there why you guys had specifically said next stop Wisconsin, especially for a couple of WC wrestlers out there that might be here?
I guess we'll have to wait in September.
So
no, man, I want spoilers. Come on, leak it out.
So again, okay, so I got that. We'll say wait, but now obviously WCE is gonna release their show just like you guys released your show last weekend, and I'm gonna have those individuals, I'm sure, on very soon. Should I be able to, or if you'd like on your behalf, ask you that question to them conversely, or what they thought about that comment was next stop Wisconsin?
Sure, if you want to bring up the whole, I guess, curtain call, if you want to call it.
It was different. I have to say, there was hand gestures being raised. You guys, after beating each other up, nearly killing each other, it was almost as if you guys all, and again, you looked specifically at that screen and said, next stop, Wisconsin. And then, this guy, Nicholas Crenton, who I know, Omen Black, you know very well, and so does Anthony Steele, and so does mostly everybody here on this show. After he had won his championship at his company's last show that was released, he said something about Iowa, and I was kind of wondering why he had said that, and then I heard you guys mention Wisconsin, so I'm confused because I'm thinking, maybe it's Packers training camp, maybe you guys are going to a cheese factory, maybe you're passing somewhere in between and flight destinations, because I wasn't quite clear. I didn't get that.
Well, it's perfect marketing. Trying to market both companies that we have a feud. There's a war going on between IMF and WC.
I think there's been a war that it's actually, I don't know if you heard this tonight, but Anthony Steele, I mean, I don't know what side he was on, if he was acting independently, but he was addressing it, and Craven was my witness, and I know Mr. Taylor was listening to this because he definitely was out there listening. And he was talking about stuff that I don't know if it was blurring the lines. I don't know if it was false. It was true, whatever it might have been. But it sounded like that there is a war, and he was kind of in the middle of it. And we've heard a lot about it these past few months, and I don't know what's true or what's not. But I mean, it's really getting serious right now. It seems it's actually blurring the line between I don't know what's on screen and off screen right now, and it's more serious than what I saw with that slingshotter guy, the wanker that was on here on Monday. I mean,
Squirt gun,
Nerf gun.
He probably wanks off to that, but go ahead. I'm going to give you a slide.
It was Sheldon.
I
heard
Anthony.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He made it pretty clear. He's independent in the indie scenes. Independent wrestler. That's
so why are they?
He can take whatever side he wants. I know we're friends, but he can take whatever side he wants.
So, he did that independently. Then that was basically Anthony Steele speaking as this indie darling. He's the indie guy. He's a retired back.
The reason why I said what I said is because it's for me. It's not. I'm not like Omen said. I'm friends with Omen. I'm cool with Omen. Cool with Soldier. All of them. I did it from my aspect. I did what I see. Like Omen's a cool dude. I'll give him props where props is due. He's one of the top rising stars in backyard wrestling right now.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree.
I'll say this. You know what, Omen? Why not Summer Bash next year? Run it back. You want me out there? Run it back.
I can work double.
But at this point, I've
I'll be running.
Does that mean he's coming down to the show? Are we going to see Steele in person? Is he going to actually deliver?
My thing is, yes, I'm on the indie scene. I'm not trying to make myself look better than I am, like anybody else.
You're a big deal now. You've been a big deal now. You're a real deal.
I understand I'm on the indie scene. I'm not better than Omen Black. I'm not better than James Taylor. Not better than Chris Craven. Not better than Roland Havoc. We've all came from the yard. We've done backyard shit. Well, I don't know about Roland Havoc, but probably. We've all done backyard stuff.
I started in the yard. I started in the middle of a fucking Craven, what would you call Patterson Park? I started right there on the grass. I started.
You're forgetting the concrete alleys behind buildings in Baltimore City.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Oh, look, don't try these. Listen,
But
sir.
May I ask you a question, Mr. Havoc, if you don't mind?
Certainly.
Am I able? Okay, so we have established, because we know Mr. Craven had a distinguished career in the yard scene, and we had spoke about this event next year that seems to be tentatively in the works called Summer Bash 2, maybe you want to call it, whatever you may want to call it. And I guess I should go right onto the jugular and ask you. I mean, maybe you're available next year. Maybe you want to pop up, show up, say hello, say a few words. I mean, because I'm sure. Listen, Anthony Steele's a busy guy. He's the indie darling, but you're a legend. You're a true certified legend. You're obviously a big deal. I mean, obviously, Ted DiBiase wishes he had your smile, wishes he had your face right now.
Well,
I mean, so
I appreciate you saying legend. Anybody who knows me well, example, Chris Craven, will tell you that I'm very humble. And you could sit here and tell me I'm the greatest ever, but I won't accept it because I feel that even I could improve some way, somehow. But if somebody sends me information, the when, the where,
okay,
the how, the time, I'll figure it out. And if my schedule's clear, which you said is the first weekend in July, I believe.
Correct, sir.
July 5th to the 7th, a multi-day event in Bremen, Ohio.
Interesting. Well, if I can have the information set to me,
I'll send it to Chris,
I
and he'll
will
send
look
it to you.
into getting a way out there. And if I'm able to make the arrangements, I will definitely check it out.
Okay, well,
We welcome everyone. James, Chris, Anthony, Roland, anyone in the backyard scene.
Holy
Well, shit, I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. If I'm able to make the arrangements necessary, I will definitely check it out. That is not a question. I just need to know the who, what, where, why, and when.
Omen, I got a question. James Taylor going past Tennessee State lines to wrestle? That's funny as fuck.
Well. James Taylor, you are a legend, James Taylor, on this show.
James Taylor? Okay. We'll see. I'll say this. I have a better chance of going to WWE within a year than James Taylor traveling outside of Tennessee to wrestle.
What do they say? Extending the olive branch?
Yeah, cut that hair first. Change that look.
What's the saying go? I'm extending the olive branch to a friend. I'm extending the invitation.
But no, with all due respect on everything, as Tom said, I'm the indie darling. I don't see that. I'm just a dude that is doing independent wrestling now. I'm making a name for myself, which is what I wanted to do. That's what I've set out to do. And but I'm one of those people. I will never, ever, ever forget my roots. My roots come from the yard. Shit, the story I'm doing right now on the indie scene is I'm a backyarder coming to the indies. Like that is my whole stick right now.
Look, never. I'm going to say this from firsthand. Never forget where you started, because I can tell you a personal story of some people I know that started on the yard, and then they were lucky enough to get an opportunity, and they went and they got certified, they got licensed, the whole nine, and they acted as if yard wrestling, I don't know if you can see the air quotes, yard wrestling was icky and poisoning, and
that's what I
they
know.
were phony as, pardon the expression, but they were phony as fuck. I apologize for dropping that bomb, but that showed me at that moment that they were phony as hell, because, that's beneath me. It's like, you started here.
Like,
you learned how to do what you do here.
Let me say this. They're wrong, because backyard wrestling has grown way more than it has ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where I'm from in Illinois, there's a company.
Yes, sir.
From Springfield, Illinois, there's a company called Pinfall Wrestling Association, PWA, an independent wrestling company inside Springfield, Illinois. I worked security for them. I got trained by some of their guys, everything. A lot of their people was in backyard wrestling. And literally, like, while I was doing backyard wrestling, they came, they watched our shows. They literally watched our shows, and like, they wanted to recruit me. And this is some people that James Taylor and even Omen, because Omen's seen some of my NGJPW work. They want to recruit me, Fierce Danger, Division Nick, and a dude by the name of Foxy Boy. They really wanted us to come out, get recruited, work for their company, everything. But then they wanted to do shit on backyard wrestling. And I looked at them and I was like, first of all, didn't y'all tell the story of how y'all did backyard wrestling? Oh, but we're pro wrestling. I don't give a fuck if you're a pro wrestler now or not. The way I look at it, I've spent 6 years of my life doing backyard wrestling work, and guess what that 6 years got me? It got my name out there. It got me noticed. And then when I came to the fucking independent, when I came to the independent scene, my fans that followed me from from the backyard, they're like, holy shit, Anthony's on the indie scene. Anthony's actually making moves. And then I got the question. Literally, I swear to God, I got the question. Who's next? Is Division Nick going next? Is Fierce Danger going next? Is Foxy Boy going next? Even TBW, James Taylor, or
and Craven Rage could be next. Craven Rage.
No, he can't. No, he can't. Don't do that. Bryce,
I was going to say, get in line.
You and I talked on the last show about that entire thing from backyard to indie, the backyard, the mantra,
Listen,
the attitude.
You know, you'll appreciate this, or maybe not. When I had Jack Delta here, Jack Delta tried the indie route. He did the 6 months of training, and he was like, you know what? I can't. It's just not for me. And he went back to the yard. Some guys, you know, try it. Some guys, Levi McDaniel, right? Levi's an indie guy, and he's more happier in the yard. I've spoken to Levi. It just sometimes it's, and I'll be honest, listen, I cover the British independents, right? And the politics there, it's like, if I could, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but at this point, but let him get me in trouble. There's two companies right now in England that basically are saying each other copied off the company. And it's like one company's like Trailer Park. The other one's like, clearly they have the following. And the guy that runs this company I just mentioned in the first one is basically claimed to be related to Buff Bagwell. And apparently Buff Bagwell said, you're not Buff Bagwell. Take off my name, and change his name on Facebook because he wasn't named Bagwell. So there's politics in the indie scene. But in the backyard scene, I think that the backyard scene might be more comfortable in.
I want to piggyback off that. You know,
I'm glad you would.
Even these indie guys, they want to work with us backyarders. Like in Levi,
because they got no following. Listen,
in Levi McDaniel's fight promotion, I got plenty of guys who want to work with me. Hell, I'm even being recognized off the street. Like I was just driving the other day with my fiance and the kids. I literally, as at a stop sign, this kid just yells, "Oh man!"
See that's literally I'm at work. For those that don't know, Chris, you can come through. I work at a vape shop. So literally I'm sitting there doing my job, and then a woman comes in and she goes, "Hold on, you wrestled for that indie company in Memphis, don't you?" Right? I was like, "Yeah, you know, thanks for noticing." She's like, "Can I get a picture?" I was like, "Okay." Just took a picture of my job.
$10.
And she goes, "No." I took a picture with her on my job, and she's like, "I got to show my dad this."
Like, did you call me?
Because you know why that is? Because when you're a backyard wrestler, again, YouTube, think about the views you get, right? When you're an indie guy, the promoter intellectually owns your property. You can't do anything with it. You have to go by their rules, and if you don't, they tell everybody else that you're hard to work with, can't work with you, and you're blacklisted. Well, those in backyard, you don't have those problems, not as much.
I went to Jacksonville, Illinois. This is like me 2, maybe 3 years into my career. Jacksonville, Illinois, about 45 minutes, an hour outside of where I lived and where I wrestled. And my brother looked at me. He goes, "Just watch." He's like, "Watch what is about to happen." And we're about to walk into Walmart. So I'm sitting here like, what the fuck do you mean watch what's about to happen? So we walk into Walmart, not even 2 minutes. 3 kids and 2 adults come up and was like, "We watch you on YouTube. You're Anthony." Well, at the time, Diablo. And you're Foxy Boy. Literally, I was sitting there. I was like, "Hold the fuck up." He goes, "Dude, you do not understand how many people out here."
It was funny. Come on, it was funny.
But like, he was like, "You do not know how many people like actually wrestling."
That's a good guy right there.
I like him. I don't know what it is, but I just think that everybody should go and be like CJ Black.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, the independent scene, it's not for everybody. You know, the cardio fucking sucks. And backyard wrestling, you don't have to worry about fucking cardio. You don't have to worry about working fuck out. You go do a show, have fun with your friends.
I can talk about the British independents. I know obviously Roland's still active, but in the British independents, the competition for these guys, there's a fight between quote unquote wrestle kids and kind of the veterans. And it's like, to me, it's like so goofy. I've had wrestlers message me, "Hey, don't have that guy on because he's only wrestled a certain amount of matches. You know, it's like
Gunshot
doesn't
versus
matter.
Deadpool.
Don't
What's
have
that?
Gunshot on because he can't
Gunshot
talk.
versus Deadpool.
No, these guys are much better than that. I mean, nothing can be as worse as Slingshot versus Interpol. But I mean, the point is that in the backyard scene, I just think the creativity is just different, man. I don't know. To me, it's like an underground rock show, right? It's like an
Unless
underground
you're watching a
vibe.
Gunshot match.
You
God
wanna
damn.
know- You want to know one reason why I'd come back to the yard? And
You are going to come back to the yard. Listen, you could talk to us all you want about the indie, darling. You are coming back to the indie, to the backyard scene. July 5th to 7th next year. You know you're going to be there. We're all going to be there at this point. You're going to be there.
Pack a bag, do your comb over, and bring your poppin' ass down.
So last month, I got invited to NGJPW WrestleFest 16.
Okay.
The company I started, and I told him, I was like, "Yo, if I can make it, I'll come up. I'll do this." I wasn't able to make it. But I saw and I heard that a dude was metaphorically, didn't come out and say it, but was using my moves to call me out because he wants a match with me. Some of you know him. Hey, James, Captain Law.
Well, I got to break it for you. Captain Law, by the way, next weekend, he's going to be in your chair.
Hey,
is he going to respond to Slingshot?
Yes, we spoke about that off the. I can't tell you what he said.
I want in. Come on, please.
And by the way, he said Captain Law said he is looking forward to seeing some of the guys here. And by the way, he told me to say hello to you, James Taylor.
I was the one who informed him about Gunshot's comment.
but like the one.
I'm like, I didn't know Gunshot made.
I wish Havoc. I wish you could have been on the other night with that Gunshot.
You would have loved him, Roland Havoc, Roland the $1 Million Man Havoc. You would have loved him.
Well, I'm the Warhound, but I appreciate that.
He would have shot on him. He would have got to him before I did.
This guy, listen. All I'm gonna say is, I had more people message me saying, I had two common things were, one, never. I won't say who said it. Never bring this guy on again. Secondly, I had at least 3 people tell me. Well, I was trying to anonymity, but I had at least 3 people message me and say that if I didn't jump in, that they would have felt that Craven would have came out of the screen and killed this poor guy. So I had to
Well, basically, now I have to go back.
Havoc, you got to go back on Bryce's page and watch it. Oh my God!
It's the second half of the show with Craven's name. Go to like the 1 hour mark. Just watch from there.
Yeah, I want to say this before I.
What is this, last week's show?
It was Monday with Chris Craven. Yeah, it was Monday.
Last year I was on a show called Steel Talk.
52-minute mark. That's where he comes on.
Oh
yeah.
Shit! So I forgot.
I'm saying it. Last year I was on a show called Steel Talks, and I was on there with a guy named Gunshot. I didn't know who he was.
It's Sheldon Cooper.
He was literally trying to shoot promos on me and Soldier. We would just ignore him. Anthony, you saw it.
The promo kid. Can't do a promo.
It's like my thing was I was trying to start up before I found out about Tom Bryce. All this, I was trying to start up a podcast, a talk show, so I can get back to backyard wrestlers and get their stories out there like that. Especially because I knew I was about to hit the indie scene and shit. And then my first guest was Omen Black, and we were gonna have a dude named Loose Cannon on there. Yeah,
he was on there.
Yeah, that was a horrible idea. I don't know. Hold on, Omen, help me decide which was the worst idea: having Loose Cannon on there or Gunshot.
Both.
Oh my
Hold
God!
on. I want to say something. Omen, you need to book Gunshot versus Loose Cannon.
Dude, that'd be fucking gold. One dude.
I don't think there's enough bubble wrap.
I disagree. Omen, look, I disagree. Hold on. Do not put Gunshot in any match. Don't disgrace other talent. Don't.
No.
No, you don't understand.
There's
not even for
Let me finish my story before I get off.
Let him
said,
learn.
don't disgrace.
Let me finish my story before I get off.
I will send you the stuff, Havoc.
So then,
send me the link.
Several months go by. I'm on Tom Bryce, and I see this comment from an anarchist Gunshot. He's like, "Oh, I would love to have a match with Omen Black." In my head, I was like, "Okay, whatever," And then I see who the anarchist Gunshot is.
You were like, "Oh shit."
It'd be like,
oh please.
It'd be like picking on the kid in gym class that clearly has a certain walk that no one else has.
The way I put it, Chris, I'm gonna be honest. The reason why we say loose cannon versus gunshot, we have a person that doesn't know how to sell versus a person that don't want to sell. Like,
what were you talking about, guys, last night? What was the line you used about gunshot getting? What did he get? I guess the move three times, and he got up like 2 seconds afterwards.
So I watched the match with gunshot, and what he did is he got a super kick or sweet chin music done.
And he got up in like 2 or something like that.
He hit the ground, got up in like 2 or 3 seconds, got like a Superman punch, got down 2 or 3 seconds. Like any big move this dude would take, you'd be down for like 2 or 3 seconds and then get back up. Like, oh, I'm still going. No selling.
No
He
selling.
runs like loose cannon.
I'm sitting here like, what the fuck?
And you know what? Think about it. In the match between loose cannon and gunshot, James. Loose cannon would win.
I was about to say, is it bad that
Probably, yeah, probably.
I was about to say, is it bad that I think loose cannon would win? Like in that,
I think loose cannon would win, but when it comes to mic skills, I think gunshot maybe
Neither.
a bit better.
No. If it came to mic skills, gunshot's a little bit actually he's better than. Joe can't talk.
Here.
Joe cannot talk.
My wife's brush has a better promo than either one of them.
Do not give gunshot. Don't give Sportzwire.
Am I able to say this here, Anthony Steele? Because Gunshot was telling me how you were like one of his best friends. By the way, you were one of his best friends, confidant, close guy. I mean,
rumor is that you're his butt plug buddy.
In the business that he said in the business, you were one of his in the business. He used the word.
That's my boy. We go back.
Boy.
No, okay.
Boy.
If y'all
Don't blush on us now. Don't blush on us, bro. Don't blush on us.
I'm gonna be as open and honest as I can be about this.
You are very honest. I will tell you that.
Gunshot,
Even on Steel Talk, you're like, that's my boy.
Hey, look, Gunshot. I like him. He'll definitely make you laugh. I'll tell you that.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I agree with you. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just a challenged guy.
Gunshot has problems mentally.
No.
Oh. and
What is happening?
okay. See,
just smile, Roland Havoc. Just smile.
There's one thing. Look, I
don't care. What are you gonna do? Promo me to death?
Havoc when you watch it.
There's one thing I have on both Gunshot and Captain Law that if it ever got out to the media, holy fucking shit.
Please don't say this on the air because somebody will go and watch the tape. Whatever you do, don't say anything. Please
You know what?
I don't even want to know. Please don't tell us off the air when we get off the air in a little bit. Please don't tell us.
All I'm gonna say is this: if you ever get a message from Law, like if you ever message Law and say you don't have gas money but you need a ride, like Christian did, you don't want to know what the ending result is.
This reminds me of the Vince McMahon story driving on the road in the winter. Let's not go there.
I'll say 3 words. 3 words. 3 words to sum it all up. Ass or grass.
Listen, Anthony Steele, I have Captain Law in your chair. Please, I have to eat in a little while, so don't spoil my appetite.
I think Havoc just figured out what Gunshot was. I think he
these 3 words. Pay attention to these 3 words.
I'm a man of the people. I get it.
Pay attention to these 3 words: cash, ass, or grass.
Well, let me just put it this way. I'm really trying to, Anthony Steele, for your sake and my sake, because I have to speak to Captain Lord next week. All I'm going to say is let's walk this back with the Oz references. I get the Oz references from the old Oz show and that stuff. I get that, but let's move away from that. Because CJ Black thankfully has a comment that I could certainly move away from this. So you're saying he's not playing with a full deck of cards, 2 tacos short of a 12-pack. Yeah, well, something like that.
You know what? That's a good guy comment right there. I can't.
That's why he's a good guy, because you know what?
That is such a clean comment. Yes.
You know what? I'll say this Jacob Collins that's putting foul lies about CJ Black. He better
All
shut
right,
up.
can
He
I
better
say
watch
this
his
on
mouth.
the air? All right, can I say this on the? I am going to get in so much trouble here. I mean, Anthony Steele, I'm going to be joining you and hooking the line in here. So if you haven't watched, if you Roland Havoc, I might need you
Sure.
back up soon. So let me tell the story, and I'm going to make these guys laugh here. I had Jacob Collins on here, and he was on here last week. Some of you might have caught it, some of you might not. I don't know if Craven you saw it, but Jacob Collins, let me just say, well, I think his ring work isn't terrible. Let me just say the way he comes across on the air, maybe off the air. Let me say the creepy serial killer vibes certainly would fit him to a T. Let me just say that.
Jeffrey Dahmer or like panel van outside of a school.
Paddle van outside of a school. Paddle van
Yeah.
out of a school.
So you're like John Wayne Gacy?
Let me just say, I think Mr. Taylor saw some in the interview, and again, I really think Jacob Collins is.
James, we gotta have a talk after this because I didn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, listen.
The next time if he's any kind of registry.
Let me just say, I think he's an emerging talent. We love ROEW, but in terms of like how he came across, let me just say his ring skills are far better than his mic skills. But I hope I'm not going to get my neck hung for this. So if it does, certainly it was nice knowing you guys.
I see you on a milk carton.
Hey, you got a lot of cushion around here, man. You'll be all right. You'll be good.
I don't know. I don't even know the amount of cushion I have on my face. It would still save me after what I just said, because I certainly hope that somebody says, you just said that about that. Well, I mean, you watch the tape. Roll back the footage.
You're a radio host, man. You got to say it all, man. Don't let anything go. Say it all.
Well, some things, listen, when it came to the slingshot and the captain, we had to walk that back. But, I mean, let's move on here, because we're going on forever here. I want to give everybody an opportunity to say something to everybody out there that's listening and watching. Let me go to you first, the $1 Million Man, Roland Havoc. I know I'll have you on here.
I love that. Look, whoever came up with that, I love that. That's amazing.
CJ Black, actually. So hopefully I stay in the good graces of ROEW management. They don't want to obviously stop me not covering them. But Mr. Havoc, I'm going to have you on before the 29th. So what do you want to say to everybody here watching and listening, and anything you might want to plug?
I mean, as far as workers concerned, or just in general?
Wrestling in general, anything else before we have you back on? I'm going to bring you back on.
Well, as from a working standpoint, stay humble, man. That says so much about you as a worker. It's just not even, you know what I mean? Like I said, I have history with guys who showed up and had this massive thought or ego, no pun intended, about who they were and what they could do. But just be humble. There's always room to improve. It doesn't matter if you're on the top of the chain or the bottom of the barrel. There's always room for improvement. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, man, have you ever thought of, like A, B, and C? It's like, just listen to it, because it could help you in one way or another. You know what I mean? Just stay humble. Listen to what your peers, your coworkers in this case, are saying to you. Like if I was to go to Chris Craven and say, hey man, have you ever thought of, when you do this, what if you did that instead of this to make it flow? You know what I mean? It's not like telling you what to do. It's like hey, did you ever think about this kind of thing? It's, you know what I mean? Like, just stay humble.
He's heard about that flow all the time on here. Like, you're getting the same message. Like, that flow, that advice, take it.
Yeah, I agree with all that. No, definitely. Words we all can live by in anything, not just in wrestling, and that's why I'm really excited to have you on here and being a staple of the Sportswire radio shows. So thank you for your interest. I look forward to having you here more often in the future. And Omen Black, my man Omen Black, one of my favorites here as always. And Omen, I want to give you the opportunity to say anything else out there. I won't ask you again about that Wisconsin comment, as I'm sure that those individuals in that state might have a thing or two to say about that next week on the show. But anything else you want to plug, share, say? IMF Wrestling on YouTube. Go subscribe to them. Roland, I highly recommend. They have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Actually, it's over 1,200 now. They're really one of the premier companies out there, and they're doing a great job. IMF Wrestling 666 on Instagram as well. And Mr. Black, I give you the opportunity to say anything else you want, my friend.
Well, I'm just going to say this. For advice for anyone back there in the backyard scene, just keep working on your craft. That's all you can do. Now, I want to plug, LMFP is going to have another show here soon.
I did see on Facebook. I saw Levi posted that. Yes, I did.
Yours truly will be in it.
Oh, you will. Okay.
I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do. My chair just broke. Keep an eye on IMF and WCE. We'll
Okay, I'm not going to ask you anything further on that, so I'm going to leave that as it is. And
I don't want to. I don't know if I can say this.
Don't say it, please. Don't say it because it'll come back.
No, I know.
No, don't because somebody will go report to somebody. Trust me. Don't say it.
I'm just gonna say this. IMF's gonna be somewhere else here soon.
Okay. That could be anywhere. Listen, that for all I know, that could be in New Jersey. For all I know, it could be. And we got merchandise. Definitely go out there and check it. And CJ Black makes a great point. I heard a good guy save the show. You definitely did. James Taylor, the legendary nemesis, the man who might be related to the legendary folk singer. I give you the opportunity for any closing. Please save us all. Save me and save everybody else here further. So anything you want to plug, share, say Rampage 148. Go to TBW Tennessee Backyard Wrestling on Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, check that out, please, for those out there. And anything you want to plug, my friend, and thank you as always, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me on here and entertaining. Just really came on here just to shoot the shit with these guys and listen to the stories because the wrestling stories is always great. If I was to give any advice, I'd paraphrase everything that they say. Really, it's just, be humble and shake everybody's hand and respect everybody. You show the respect, they're going to give the respect to you. If you go in there with a high horse and you think you're king shit, trust me, they're gonna make king shit out of you. So that I'm 100%. When I went to TBW, when I go anywhere, I like to go up to everybody and I introduce myself. I don't say what I've done. I just like, hey, I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for being here. So yeah, definitely be a student of the game. Constantly watch the work. Constantly study. Watch your own matches. Number one thing. Watch your own matches. Always watch them because you can see something you've done and say, you know what? I need to do something better to make it better. Anthony, I know me and you, this is the last thing. I know me and you, we got a one-on-one. Whenever that third match is going to be, you know what? I'll say it right here, whether it's out of character or not. I love you like a little brother, man. You're a little bastard. You piss me off, but you know what? You're like that little brother I never had. And Mr. Craven, hey, you know what? Maybe one day me and you might get to meet. But last night was awesome. We got to tell those wrestling stories, and I got a lot of feedback. I don't know if you went back and watched it. It's almost 200 views on that damn stream already. Everybody liked watching it.
I was actually sharing the link to people. I will not lie, which I usually don't do for other shows other than myself. I was actually telling a number of wrestlers, go back and watch this show because this was like almost reminded me like the drink. Anybody ever watch the Drink Shot podcast or the Mike Tyson podcast?
A little bit, yeah.
Same vibe to it. So this was I really enjoyed it.
That's usually what I try and do. And I've got a few more guests that are lined up, so stay tuned for that.
And the Big Cheese Logan, by the way, I messaged him about you, by the way, today. The Big Cheese Logan.
I'll definitely keep an eye out for that for sure. I think he messaged me, but I'll have to go back and look. Mr. Havoc, I know I've never met you until now, but I'll definitely go and watch your stuff. I mean,
appreciate it.
I've been in it for a while, but hey, never say never, right? But maybe maybe I can get you on my show as well. But this ain't about me. This is about Mr. Tom Bryce. And Tom, thank you.
The Reverend.
James Taylor. You got 41,000 subscribers. Please, by all means.
No, that ain't nothing.
Yeah, so if you Google my name, and this is no BS. If you Google my name, the exact spelling, like my information pops right up. It's crazy. Like it's a picture of me, and it blew my mind because I was like, wow, that's crazy.
I'm to that. That's awesome. I'll do that for sure because I want to watch some of your matches. And if you want, you can check mine out. My YouTube is exactly like my name right here, Taft Space Taylor. Just check it out.
Yeah, Taylor. Okay.
You can check out some of my matches. I got 2 matches on there with Anthony. So there you go, Mr. Reverend Tom.
All right,
Bryce.
sweet. I'll check that out for sure.
I'm going to throw out the new hashtag Sportswire Wrestling. And
I'm going to use it. I am going to use it. You got me convinced. I'm going to use it.
There's always a first. Like we saw Craven attack, I'm just going to go ahead for shits and giggles. Since everybody likes to say I'm fucking stone cold, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toast. Since this guy Havoc's been drinking right here, it's been making me thirsty. So I got 2 of them right here for you. And I'm going to toast a toast to both of you at Sportswire Radio.
My man.
James
My
Taylor,
man.
the legendary.
Me and Taylor can party, baby. Woo!
Woo!
You're damn right.
Listen,
I'm
Hey,
down.
look,
I'm coming to the party too.
Craig, open the
this
cooler.
man.
Look at this. Check us out, Blake. Bam! Look at the foam. Look at the foam, baby. Woo!
Follow
go.
this man on YouTube, Taft Taylor, Taft_Taylor on Instagram. He's on TikTok, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Check them out. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Always love TBW. I'm going to try to follow this up here, Chris Craven. Anything you want to say, Coach? I mean, I'm going to try to follow that up, but
I don't know what else there is to say. Like, I've been on the show a handful of times, and
this is your 5th time, actually. You've been here 5 times already, by the
it
way.
seems like a lot of people are taking that advice because they're all repeating it. So it's like, as far as wrestling goes, it's like I can't say work on your craft or stay humble or work on your flow anymore. I've said all that stuff, but one thing I can say is, someone was mentioning watching your own tapes. Like, watch your own tapes. Okay, not only watch your own tapes, but dissect them. Dissect your character. Dissect your characteristic traits. Everything. See if you character, not the ring work. Put that aside. Make sure if you want to develop your character or improve your character, you can always do that way too. I mean, I can't tell you how many times this guy Havoc has changed up, how many times he's evolved. I mean, the good thing about a character is you can always evolve. You can always make it grow.
Mhm.
I mean, even me, Chris Craven just started out as a sarcastic punk and turned into this psycho menace of a lunatic that did the craziest fucking shit. Like, anybody can evolve your character. I say work on your character. Your ring work is a whole other element entirely. Work on the character, because the more you display that character, the better you display that character, the more attention you're going to get at that too. Like, whether you're a heel or you're a face, if your character is on top notch and your ring work's on top notch and you're working on both, I mean, you got something. You really got something. You're hard to ignore. No one could shoot you down. So
All right.
I'll cheer to that, buddy. Cheers.
Amen to all that here in CJ Black.
y'all got all these like this beer. Y'all no one's sharing.
Hey,
Like-
you want one? I got plenty if you need some.
Anthony
Hold on,
Steele,
Craven.
you're up
Chris
last.
Craven, you're like a 15-minute ride to me, man. What are you doing?
I'm 30 minutes. I'm 30 minutes from. Don't you dare! Don't tease. I will come.
Well, listen,
Hey,
Anthony
I'll come.
Steele, you got the floor. You're the last thoughts here before we sign off here. So fire away, Anthony Steele.
Well, like everyone's saying, stay humble. Watch your tapes. Make sure you master your craft. But to all my statement is to all those guys that are in the backyard scene, that those indie people tell you can't make it out here, you can't do this how they've been doing this. I'm gonna tell you this from a boy that had just a little dream of becoming a professional wrestler who has now made it to the fucking indie scene, and I'm going to continue to do this until I physically or mentally cannot fucking do this. Anything you set your mind to, you can achieve. As long as you perceive it, you can do it. If you can tell yourself that you are going to accomplish this dream, fucking do it. Sometimes you're gonna fail. Sometimes you're gonna get knocked off your little high horse a little bit. But that's what makes you stronger. I don't know how many times I've been knocked off my high horse and was like, oh, well, you're not as great as you thought you were. You know how many times I've been told I'm not great? I'm not good at what I do? Guess what I do? I don't sit there and I don't cry. I don't go to social media and be like, oh my God, this guy is just fucking, I can't do this anymore. No. I pick my ass up. I take my ass back to that fucking ring and I show them that, hey, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I know I love it. I want to do this, and this is all I'm going to fucking do with my life. Wrestling is my dream, my passion, and everything about me represents wrestling. So if you have a dream, whether it is professional wrestling, whether it's singing, art, dancing, anything that you want to be, go do it.
I got
Don't
a dream.
take no as an answer, bro. Don't
You
take
got
no
a dream, Chris Craven? What's your dream?
Yeah, it's the ice cream sandwich sitting upstairs in the freezer right now.
That's a good point. I'm going to let you get to that here in a second, but I want people to follow Anthony Steele. Please follow him on Instagram, Anthony_Steele with an E27510. That is Anthony_Steele with an E27510. Also, make sure if you want to get in touch with Chris Craven, he's on Facebook. Give him a friend request. I'll make sure you get in touch with him. Roland Havoc, he is on Facebook. Matt Manning, also I have some information with Brian Phillips. You can check him out as well.
Yes, sir.
And Taylor.
DBW, Dominant Breakout Wrestling. Check out the
One
YouTube
thing, yes,
page.
James Taylor, what would you like to say?
Last thing, everything like what they were saying. I mean, literally, just be humble, be yourself, have fun, and do what you're doing. And you know what? I get a lot of messages from guys. Do you, Anthony? Do you, Craven? Have you ever gotten messages from people who ask you, "Hey, how come I'm getting so much hate? What do I do? How do I respond to that hate? It's starting to depress me." Dude, here's what I say, because I've damn sure been getting it a lot, and I think Tom knows it. I've been getting a whole lot of fucking hate.
We talked
lately.
about this off the air. Yep.
And, and you know what? For all the people that want to hate, that hates all of us backyard wrestlers or hate anybody that seems to be doing something successful, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you and I love you, because clearly I'm doing something right, and that's because there can't be no other way.
I got two more comments here. Two shots.
If you got heat, you got heat, man. Like, take it.
Look,
I got two more comments.
The fact that they took the time to tell you, "Oh, you're just a backyarder," blah blah blah. That means they noticed you, and for whatever reason, they took offense. They took jealousy.
I'm gonna say this. This is the one thing I've literally lived my wrestling life as. If you don't have haters, you're not doing something.
They say
You're
that
not doing
bingo.
They say that
you do not have
anything
someone
in
that's
life.
hating you, you're not doing something.
Listen, they say that in anything, but I have two more comments here before we sign off for tonight, and I want to get to those. CJ Black says I might have to go on James Taylor's show and annoy him a little bit, so let that be interesting.
I want to meet this CJ Black, whatever his name
I
is.
would love to watch a show with CJ Black. And
he is
Taylor.
like 99% in character all the time.
That's why I like him. There's just
Good.
the guy. I like the guy. The guy's got something to him. Well, Chris Craven, James Taylor, Mr. Rolling Havoc, not Rolling Havoc. I do respect you guys, and honestly, I do have respect for you guys. And Anthony Steele, I do respect you made it to the indie scene. It's a big accomplishment, but it's a but. He says but after that. Okay, well,
we got to get Bomber. I don't know if Bomber's still watching, but
Tell him to message me. I'll talk to him on, if he's on Facebook, message me, and I'll love to have a conversation with any of these
Yeah,
guys.
he's on Facebook. Oh, he actually says this is his last word from Craven. But if you want to ever show up or make it to Wisconsin, I definitely would accept a match to show you a lesson. You're still wet behind the ears.
Can I say one thing?
I call
Yes.
Who's wet behind the ears? Son,
Anthony
I'm
Steele.
38 years old.
No,
There's
we're
not very
talking
much
about
wetness
Anthony
behind
Steele.
these ears.
This was directed towards me, and I have one response and one response only.
Mhm.
When I challenged James almost 2 years ago to a match, he looked at me. He goes, "Look, man." He's like, "I seen your work. You're good, but you're still wet behind the ears. I want to see what you can do with a real legend." I stepped in that fucking ring. I stepped in that ring in a street fight. A street fight with James. Where James was like, how hardcore do you want to do this? And I'm not going to lie, here, you want to talk about breaking kayfabe, Havoc? I'm going to break some kayfabe real quick.
The fact that you remembered I said that like an hour or whatever it was ago is amazing.
I have a great memory. James Taylor was like, "I want to bleed." I was like, well, then let's bleed. He goes, "What do you mean, let's bleed?" I said, "Let's both bleed." He goes, you want to bleed with me?" I said, "I'm going to bleed more than you." He goes, "Nah, man, nah. Let's break kayfabe for a minute, because it is backyard wrestling we're talking about." We had a little back and forth with those signs. I personally went out and bought fucking street signs to have for this fucking match. James probably smacked me like 7 to 10 times in the head with this sign.
I brought the blades,
and he brought the blades.
We juiced.
When I mean
he juiced more than me.
When I mean I juiced, I fucking was leaking.
I mean, like the juice that comes out of a roast beef I just took out of the oven, basically.
Everybody after the match, I'll say this, the amount of blood that I did is the most these guys have ever seen in a wrestling match at their show. They had to ask me, they're like, "Are you okay?" Because I had to drive. I had to go back to Illinois. And then James came up to me. He goes, "Look, kid." He goes, "I will tell you one thing, and this ain't James Taylor, the wrestler. This is James Taylor talking to Anthony Holloway." He goes, "You got the fucking hit factor, kid." He said, "Don't give up. Keep going fucking forward. You're going to fucking make it." So for this kid that's wet behind the ears, I'm gonna tell you this, Craven. Craven Rage, straight to you, no bullshit, out of character. I might be wet behind the ears to a lot of men, a lot of women that's been in this industry, but my heart, my passion, my dedication, and my skill that I've accumulated over the past 7 years brought me to this moment, and I'm going to live this moment until my moment finally burns by my hands.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll have to ask Mr. Rage in his spot, which I'm sure some of these gentlemen will probably
Shine
be
it off,
tuning in.
Havoc. Shine it off.
Yep, we'll certainly do
T-Pop.
that. There we go. We got that DBW championship belt there. I'm certainly looking at the World Extreme Champion there, the DBW World Extreme Champion of the world, and certainly that is a belt, one of the most prized sport possessions in this sport. And
I want
obviously,
another match with Havoc.
well,
And
I
if
tell you
you
what,
if you look me up on Facebook, I do believe my photo as I'm actually holding it. I'm in the
yes,
I'm in the denim rock out.
I sent you that request. We're going to definitely talk about that before the 29th. Fellas,
Yes, sir.
this was one for the ages. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, but most importantly, thanking you guys. Also want to thank Omen Black, who was with us for a little while, and to all the people out there, thank you for tuning in. And I'll be doing this again tomorrow, 4:00 with the Wilster. So I guess if somebody wants to come on and say hello to the Wilster of Legendary Backyard, the Wilster from Legendary Backyard Wrestling, they wrestle on a trampoline, but they're nice guys. They really are. They're part of the Backyard Wrestling Nexus.
You know what? Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah,
I
no, they're
mean,
good guys. These guys, they got the right attitude. In fact,
I started on a trampoline.
Yeah, no, they're good guys. These guys, they got a good,
I started on grass. You know what I mean? Like
got a good attitude. And spoiler alert: I'm going to ask him about Slingshot. So,
Oh, I'm coming. I'm
okay,
there.
I knew somebody would say that coming. You'll come on in the middle of the show. We'll talk about this. But thank you, everybody.
I got one request. And it does have nothing to do with Squirt Gun. We got to get Bomber on here, man. I don't know.
Okay, absolutely. Listen,
I agree. And if the show that Bomber is able to be on, I would like to be a part of that. Because Chris Craven can tell you I was one of the guys. And because of Chris Bomber, in all fairness, because of Chris Bomber, I was able to break the mold of being just the big enforcer. And I was able to become a singles wrestler and became world champion.
I'll tell you this much. We'll definitely arrange that before the 29th because I do have some dates open next week. So I'll definitely arrange that. I might even be able to swing it next weekend. So let's definitely discuss that. But thank you, everybody that has tuned in. I will be back again tomorrow. I'll be back here. Well, it's today now, 4 p.m. Eastern time with the Wilster. And if you're on sportnarium.com/player, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on Twitter and YouTube, thank you for hanging out. Thank you to everybody here. Thank you to Chris Craven, the Real Deal, Anthony Steele, the Nemesis, James Taylor, and the legendary Roland Havoc. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sports